Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Curse of Strahd, Twice Bitten, the show where 5 DMs take on D&D's top Gothic horror campaign. As always, I am Dragna Carta, your host and DM, and thank you for tuning in. Well, last week we finally hit a bit of a milestone. How's everyone feeling now that we finally hit the Tarokka?
It feels right. It feels correct. It's going to be interesting figuring out what these things are because we, of course, as DMs who have run this, don't know where any of this stuff is. So, yeah.
I'm excited because one of these locations is a place that my party got and literally never figured out. So that's cheering.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely happening a bit later than usual. I mean, when did your guys' things happen? I presume toward the start of your campaigns.
Level 3.
Session 1.
Level 6.
We were in a room in the library with electric candles and me trying to be spooky. It was fun.
Nice.
My Madame Ava has a Long Island accent, so...
Amazing.
I would pay to hear that.
Well, you hear it sometime. Why not? Just give it some time.
All right, excellent. Well, with that said, welcome back, everyone. I believe with Madame Ava's Tarokka reading out of the way, welcome to Season 2 of Curse of Strahd, Twice Bitten.
Whoop, whoop.
And with that
This
said...
is where we jumped the shark.
Yeah, indeed. There are many sharks to be jumped, all of them in Legzarevich. So, without further ado, let's get started this week with Curse of Strahd, Twice Bitten. And welcome back, everybody.
Love that castle tour.
Did not think it was possible for the intro to get cooler, and
How did they do this?
Fucking blown away. It was so good.
That lingering shot on the tomb at the end. Oh.
Thank you to Zio, our producer, for, again, coordinating an excellent Season 2 intro.
Slightly ominous that all the rest of us have, our names on the screens of some pretty nice outdoorsy places, and then they stick Earthrendeer right in the Amber Temple.
Yeah, really...
That's not foreshadowing at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Not remotely.
Just leave them there, it's fine. All right, well, I think we are ready to get started with this week's episode. So, last we left off on Curse of Strahd, Twice Bitten. Facing an uprising against Baron Vlakovich, fueled by rage and fear from the vampire attacks on St. Andrew's Church, as the Vlakians attacked the Baron's home and family, our companions invaded the mansion themselves, there rescuing his son, Victor Vlakovich, and lifting the Baroness's wedding dress to deliver to the abbot of the Abbey of St. Markovia. The following morning, after Metron received a dark dream and a bittersweet gift from his patron, the Wounded One, and after the companions regrouped in the taproom of the Blue Water Inn to keep watch for vampires through the night, the party set off for the Dusk Elf encampment to the west of Vallaki. There, Earthrendeer delivered Victor temporarily into the capable hands of the Dusk Elf Casimir, though not before learning of an ancient ruin called the Amber Temple, which Casimir believed held the secret to breaking Strahd's pact and freeing Barovia, as well as the means of resurrecting Casimir's own sister, Petrina, from the dead. Traveling east on the old Svalich road, the travelers were beset by strange encounters aplenty, an eerie skeletal rider, a band of wandering Vistani, and a bestial druid that fled to the woods at Kiva's arcane command. Thankfully, after nearly a full day of travel, the companions arrived safely at Sarahpool Encampment, the home of Madame Ava, the Vistani seer. There, the companions received a warm welcome from the local Vistani, learning that Madame Ava had in fact been expecting them. Within Ava's tent, the old fortune-teller greeted them warmly and offered to tell their future through their fortunes. Withdrawing an old deck of Tarokka cards, the crone drew 5 cards, knowledge of the ancient, to be found in the castle amid the ruins of a place of supplication, a holy symbol of protection, to be found in a dark guild member's tomb, a sword of sunlight, found near a pool blessed by the white sun, an ally in the battle against darkness, the leader of the feathered ones among the vines, and a place where they would find their enemy, a sacred place where the morning light once shone. And so, as Madame Ava's reading comes to an end, as she regains her awareness, her faculties, as the lights and sounds within the tent return to normal, as the lapping of the waves against the shores of Sarahpool beyond, as you hear the crackling of the bonfire beyond the door of Madame Ava's tent, you are left more in the dim interior of her enclosure as she glances forward toward you, her eyes dark and thoughtful.
Wow. Okay. I'm not sure what to say. Does this mean anything to anybody else? I mean, Ava, was it? How do you know these things?
The whisperings of the fortunes are difficult for many to decipher, but I have been given certain gifts, and, well, there are those among my people gifted with the eye that sees beyond. One gains a certain amount of practice over time, my dear.
You said that one of them was in the ruins of a place of supplication. Can you describe that more specifically?
That I cannot. The cards, they send me images, words, sensation. But it is the task of mortal kind to interpret what the fates divine, my child.
Did Irina and Ismark come into the tent with us for the reading?
If you would have invited them, then yes, they would be here. Up to you.
Of course.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, because I think the moment that Ava mentions this pool blessed by light, she's got locked eyes with Irina. Are we thinking the same thing here?
Irina
that
is
feels
looking
like a meaningful piece of information.
Irina is looking very thoughtful. Her eyes are kind of down, not kind of downcast, but like when you're turning over the answer to a question on a test that you're pretty sure is the right one. She kind of glances up toward you and raises an eyebrow, catching your gaze.
Yeah, I think she's definitely also turning things over in her head. Also looking, I guess, to the others, people that she thinks are far smarter, which would be Erthrindir and Lillison, for what do you guys think about this?
Erthrindir's chewing on his tongue, apparently, his eyes kind of alight with the pleasure of someone who's just gotten a really good puzzle to untangle. So, interesting. So, I respect you telling us that you've got what you've got information-wise. That is very kind, and he kind of shakes himself. Thank you. I don't know what we're going to do with these exactly, but if it's that important, then it seems like, well, it's our next step to figure out what all this means.
Lillison is still in sort of the back of the group, and she is having trouble keeping from looking still very angry. For everybody else, this is probably like the most amount of time that you've seen her like wrestle with one emotion at once. And she is fighting to keep her voice calm as she says, "Do your arts tell you if we are destined for success in this venture?"
Well, the fates are not always entirely clear. But success is not something that one easily gleans, but follow the fates. That is all I can say.
Metron kind of looks down to Amity and whispers, "Wait, you said you seen when you saw them spirits in the graveyard at Barovia, that they said that there was other people who come here, right?"
That's right.
Ava, Madam Ava, you done this before?
Told fortunes? Why, yes, my dear.
No, I mean
Many
to
times.
people who wanted to end him.
She raises an eyebrow.
Child, there have been many in time who have sought to defeat the Dark One in his castle. As I am sure you have seen, well, there are many fates in store for them. As for what fate has in store for you, well, now that's an entertaining possibility.
But did you give them a reading like this, where you told them where a weapon was and a powerful force for good?
The cards are always different for those that come to my camp. Some seek some things, others are given, others entirely. But yes, I have spoken with those who have sought to remove the devil from his castle. As for whether they heeded my words, as for whether they divined the secrets that the Tarokka held for them, that I cannot say.
Are you saying that if we heed these words and follow these 5 directives, then we'll probably succeed?
As I have said, the inner sight is instructive, but it is not, well, for one such as me, omniscient. I see what I can, but there are always clouds, there are always mists, but be that it may, I can promise you, my dear, that what I have spoken of this day, what the Tarokka has shared, the fates have spoken through me, well, you'll scarce find another more trustworthy in all of Barovia.
I was wondering about that actually. I've been waiting to meet you because Emily stammers. Ever since I got here, I've sometimes had these dreams that they're vague, but they foretell what's going to happen tomorrow.
Ah, well, the seers of the Vistani are not the only ones gifted with the sight, my dear. Especially in a land such as this. The dead are outside of time in some ways. The way that they see fate is not as we do. And well, such a time spent, I imagined, would shift any mortal's perceptions. Mm-hmm.
Are you saying that I'm dead?
Oh
Or
no,
that...
my dear. But you've heard their voices, haven't you?
Amity nods a bit shakingly.
You'd best heed them, my dear. They whisper, but if we listen carefully, those with the gift can hear. One may find that in delving into the wisdom of spirits, one carries away many gifts indeed.
Amity nods. Thank you. I'm definitely listening to them.
Good.
We should probably get together and try to figure out what these things mean.
Earthendeer, kind of jerks out of the reverie he's been in, thinking, yeah, but one thing. He turns to look at the others, his voice serious. We need to be very careful how we talk about these. If we believe Madam here, and that these are our key to success, then it is imperative that the vampire does not find out about them. So if we talk about this, then we need to do so in a way that we take every measure to make sure he is not listening.
Oh no, Madam Ava, he can't stay here, can he? Because I think he's been watching us. I think he's been watching us through me, and I've been here and I know these things now, and I don't want to give it up.
Scared of snarks and spooks in the night, are you, dearie?
Well, yeah.
Well, she looks around, her eyes wide. I don't see the vampire here. She offers you a sly look, but then again, that would be telling, wouldn't it?
So we talk in code, or we write things down, and that's it.
Yep, and we ferret off any spies that we can find.
If you guys want to find a place to sort of rest for a moment, I just want to talk to Madame Ava before I join you.
If you don't mind, I'm sticking around.
I also have something I'd like to ask her, but you can go first.
Earthendeer laughs.
Let's just give you.
I'll take me and Lillison and go find somebody.
Well, I'll give you your privacy, love, and you just let us know when you're done, and we'll queue it up.
Awesome, thank you. I appreciate it.
Lillison looks like she is entirely happy to leave. She, turns away, almost like leaves right then and there, and then glances back and gives Madame Ava a polite-ish nod before she does.
Yeah, Earthendeer will follow her out.
Bowing
As he does.
Same.
Bismarck and Irina will follow as well, Esmeralda included.
So once they're alone, Kiva would go just back over and sit in front of Madame Ava and just say, I don't want to take up your valuable time, but you mentioned being able to talk to spirits, and I was wondering if you could maybe just sort of look in on particular ones.
Oh, my dear. Some things that we might wish are available to us are not always quite so simple. But if it is communion you seek, perhaps your friend might be better equipped.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. She looks a little disappointed and stands back up. Like I said, sorry for taking your time. She'll just rush out of the tent.
Metron, seeing this, motions over to Amity. If you want to have a go with it, I don't know how long I'm gonna be.
All right,
Kiva just
Amity-
looks like absolutely fucking crushed as you walk by, and she's like wiping at her face, but she goes to follow after Lillison and Earthendeer.
Well, then Amity's going to sort of turn to her and be like, are you okay? Did she do something?
No, it's a stupid question. You can go in now.
Are you sure? I wouldn't want to. I mean, if you want some alone time, that's fine. Amity sort of, yeah.
Just don't ask for anything you really want, is all I'll say.
I'll ask for something I sort of want. Amity awkwardly turns around and sort of back shuffles into the tent. I just want to know, because something tells me, Madame Ava, she bows a little bit, that if I were able to get these, sticks and bones, some kind of things marked. I don't know how I know this, but if I could find something like that. She's sort of trying to describe here the spell components of augury, hoping that maybe Magnum Eva can either sell her some or give her a tip towards them.
Eva tilts her head to one side.
Well, there have been many things that I have obtained over the years. But then again, perhaps the source of the aid you seek is closer than you think. After all, there are many tools that one can wield to view what lies beyond.
Like what?
Well,
She turns the cards very carefully from the table, shuffling them into a deck and then replacing it in her sleeve.
many things offer sights of the future. Perhaps you might be well equipped to investigate those that you might already have available, my dear.
Amity nods, smiling. All right, it's another prediction. All right, thank you. She curtsies again for everything, and leaves the tent, gesturing Metreon, and it's his turn.
Yeah, Metreon looks like he wants to say something to Kiva, but is going to give her space and stand outside the tent for a little bit. And then when Amity, you come out, he'll nod and sort of sheepishly step in. And since the table is low, he'll get down to his knees and get to her eye level. I know you've been sort of answering a lot of questions today, and I had just a couple. You said that I was the vassal of some king, a dying king. What do you mean by that? Who's that? Do you know who that is?
My dear, I understand your curiosity, the tinge of desperation, perhaps, but, my dear, not all secrets are mine to give. I am sure you understand.
But you're allowed to give half of them.
Is that not what fate offers all of us? Half-truths in places we seek full ones? Contortions of reality where we would otherwise wish things to be laid clear? Perhaps there are mists, in a way. But then again, sometimes the path is laid clear, and other times, well, perhaps we must set the path clear ourselves.
You mentioned mists. You said that one of my companions, she was mistouched. What do you mean by that?
As I said, my dear, not all secrets are mine to give. Perhaps you'd best ask her.
Yeah, I could do that. Thank you, I think.
But of course.
Metreon gets up and has this semi-confused look on his face and just sort of stumbles out. And Amity, if she's still around, would see that he looks more confused than when he went in there.
He would see as he comes out that Lillison has apparently changed her mind and has walked back over towards the tent and is waiting for him to leave.
I love that.
Metreon being a little bit startled by seeing her there. Oh, sorry, love. There you go. And he sort of does this exaggerated bow and gesture towards the entrance of the camp.
She gives him a little look, a sort of are you mocking me sort of look. But after a moment, she just gives him an exaggerated curtsy and walks into the tent.
Well, my dear, I thought you might return. What can this old Vistana do for you?
Why did you do it?
I've done many things in my life, dearie. You'll have to be more specific.
Why reveal my true name?
My dear, if there's one thing that the fates do not abide, at least in the walls of my tent, it is falsehood. Forgive me, for it is truth that I share, and truth that I see.
I would not expect you to provide falsehoods, but forgive me if I observe that there is plenty of room to not reveal things, such that the choice as to what to reveal seems to be a very deliberate act of, well, in any other circumstance, I would say act of war.
Well, remarkable words, and truly a mind fit for a diplomat, or perhaps a politician. But such things are far beyond the ken of a humble fortune teller, I'm afraid.
I do not think they are.
Perhaps. Perhaps not. But then again, what can any of us truly say we know beyond that which is shown to us?
We can say that we know what we have found for ourselves, I believe. And you, Venerable One, have quite as much experience as anybody else in your craft, I think.
Well, I should hope so. I would be a very poor fortune teller indeed were I to lack such experience. But then again, all must start somewhere.
What is your purpose in all of this?
My purpose? My dear, I read fortunes. Is that not purpose enough?
No, it is not. Revelation of the truth or of anything else is always bent towards a purpose.
Perhaps it is. Perhaps not. I listen only to what the fates guide me toward. Beyond that, well, it is up to you, my dear.
Do the fates have such a purpose then?
Who among us would question the intent of the fates, my dear? I am an extension, a tool of the eye that I wield. I would not presume to direct it or question it. It simply is.
I see. Well, thank you, then, for the knowledge that you have given us, and we will try to wield it wisely against our enemies.
Ooh, wisdom, you say? Truly always an invigorating concept. Well, if wisdom you claim, then with wisdom you go, my dear. And well met this day.
Thank you for both the gifts and the questions you have provided.
Of course.
And Lillison will give her a more cordial nod this time and leave.
Ava returns the nod and just watches you go, with the flames glittering mirthfully across the surface of her eyes. And then the tent flap falls shut behind you, and you find yourselves once more in the camp.
Yeah, I'd say Metron sort of hung back towards the entrance of the tent, and when Lillison comes out, if she's being observant, she would probably see him sort of arms crossed, standing next to it.
She pauses outside, letting the tent flap fall behind her, and gives Metreon a curious little look.
You want to talk about it?
I suppose this is your revenge for yesterday at the Blue Water Inn. Talk about what, Metreon?
Revenge is a very harsh word, but listen. And at this point, he takes out his wineskin and takes a swig and offers it up to her if she wants it.
She's gonna take a look at it, wipe it off, like wipe off the mouth of it on her sleeve, and then take a swig.
Listen, I know how painful it is to get your name dropped like that. You know, especially when you're not the one who let it out. So you have my sympathies there.
Thank you, I suppose.
Why do you suppose?
Because I don't think that this is quite the same situation as yours, but I do appreciate the sympathy.
It isn't, but you know, no one likes their secrets told. I get it.
And so?
So you've been touched by the mist, have you?
Haven't we all?
Yeah, but you was the only one called out specifically for it. What do you think that means?
I think perhaps it simply means that she ran out of titles to give us because she wanted to give each of us 3, and, well, vassal of the undying king. Perhaps not all of them need to mean something.
I would like to see if she's hiding anything from me.
By all means.
Oh, right. That's an 18 on insight.
All right. Looking over Lillison, she seems to be being forthright.
Was that +9 to deception? Well, fair enough. I just wanted to say I'll get it, and that's all.
Her expression softens a little bit, and she says, I don't understand all of the terminology that you used before when you told us about what you used to do, but you used to pretend to be something that saying it like this sounds so banal, but you take up a role, do you not?
I mean, it depends on who you ask. And I guess it depends on who you ask and what role they think I'll take up.
I'm asking you.
I mean, I don't know. I was thrown in here just like the rest of yous, so I don't know what my role is.
Are you used to having a role to conform to?
I mean, if you pay me enough, I'll play almost any role. But you know, like I said, I don't really travel with companions that much as of late, and you all are the first that I've had in a while. So working with others is not my strong suit. So I'm still trying to figure it out.
I think we all are. But she looks around. How close is like anybody else to them right now?
At this time, I mean, I believe the others would have probably joined the NPCs who have by now, made their way toward the wagons. They're kind of sitting at the periphery of the Vistani circle. They're occasionally casting glances toward them, but right now you can see Esmeralda, Ismark, and Irina kind of standing between like the northernmost wagon and like halfway to the shore, just kind of speaking quietly to one another and looking expectantly toward you for when you're going to join them.
Lillison glances over to the others for a moment, then lowers her gaze and reaches out a hand and puts it lightly on Metrion's shoulder.
Metrion glances at it, raising an eyebrow, but doesn't say anything more.
When she looks up at him, her face looks very vulnerable for a moment, and she says, "When I wear a mask for a performance, I generally do not expect others to come up and tear it right off of my face."
Yes, that's a real rub, isn't it? But you got a strong mask if it's any consolation. Sturdy.
So do you, which leads me to wonder why you took it off.
What do you mean?
You told us willingly about everything.
It takes a lot of energy to do that, to keep that up, and I also figure we've only been here a couple of weeks, and it's very likely that we will die here. So I figure, if I'm going to spend my last moments here, and if I'm going to spend it with you all, I should be a bit more comfortable, I guess. It's not comfortable keeping a mask up,
It's not comfortable being barefaced either.
Well, existence is suffering, so I try to suffer as little as possible.
Yes, well, I suppose if any of us were looking for comfort, we would not have come here in the first place, but...
Well, I don't really think that was our choice, so...
No. She gives his shoulder a little squeeze, and then lets her hand fall to her side.
Hey. I'm not going to ask you why you didn't want your name told. That's your decision. But, maybe think about, the pros and cons of transparency versus not transparency.
I have been considering them for quite a while, yes.
Oh, and give me my wand's good back. You've been holding that.
She gives him a look, takes another drink very pointedly, and then offers it back to him.
He'll take it and nod.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. You should probably get back to the others.
Are you not?
Oh yeah, I'll be there. I'm just need a minute to myself.
Yes, I know.
We've been up each other's asses the whole time. It's a little alone time might be nice.
She will nod to him and head off towards the others.
Okay, what are the others doing at this point?
Earthrendeer's found a spot for everyone to sit at decent distance from the Vistani by the river, and is currently walking the length of the shore and the woods, and just generally looking for any sort of animal that might be Strahd adjacent.
Make a perception check.
Kiva has sort of lingered near as Irina and Ismark, and are just sort of hanging out with them while Earthrendeer does his check.
Natural 1!
Woohoo!
You don't see any bats or wolves. It just seems to be, you find yourselves a kind of very quiet little dirt patch, a bit of a ways off of the kind of gravelly, earthy shore. There's actually a place where the bushes kind of wrap around to conceal yourselves from the bulk of the encampment if you'd like a little privacy. And just looking around, it seems fairly quiet. There's just a bit of mist curling across the ground, an old dead tree kind of reaching above the place where you've now settled. And beside you, there's the river quietly lapping against its banks.
Earthrendy will pick that spot. And just kind of invite the others as they come drifting in, him busily sketching something on a piece of parchment.
Amity tests the waters.
It is quite cold, but seems reasonably clean.
Quite cold as in too sharp for swimming?
I mean, if you'd like to go swimming in a river in Romania in the middle of November, that's about what it feels like.
Understood.
So I suppose the folks kind of trickle into the...
Yeah, Esmeralda, Irina, and Ismark, seeing where you've gone, kind of, begin heading over, assuming the rest of the crew does.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Metron would. He's just hanging back a bit, just taking in all the stuff that Ava told him, as well as his conversation with Lillison. But he would eventually make his way over to the beach.
Earthrendy kind of... Go ahead.
Once people sort of trickle in, Amity's going to relay. So, Madame Ava told me that one of you might already have something that could, predict the future. Well, I'm not sure exactly how I know this, but I think that if I could get these, maybe bones or sticks that are marked with runes or something else, tea for a tea leaf reading. Actually, I don't know how that one would work. But do any of you have anything that might be something like this?
I actually do have a massive bag of bones with runes on them that I've been dragging around with me since I got here.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if you had bones with you.
She's trying to crack a joke, but she's sort of not good at it and also too sad to crack a joke. So it's that awkward person who's depressed at a party where everyone else is vibing. She does make an effort to look through her bag, though. She offers you that horrible druid staff, if you're interested. It might have some runes on it.
Earthrendir digs through his stuff as well and proffers the deck of playing cards from Death House with about 18 cards missing. Don't think this is probably what you want.
As you hold the deck out, you notice that Esmeralda looks very thoughtful, kind of tapping her chin with a finger. Wait right here, I'll be right back. Yes. And she vanishes behind the bushes.
Yes!
And begins making her way back to the encampment.
Huh. Odd. But yeah, on similar note, Kiva, would you mind reaching out to the magic in the area? I want to be sure Strahd's not spying on us invisibly or something.
I mean, I think that is a good precaution, but I doubt that will be the main source of information that he has.
Can she, let's see here, hold on. Let's divine sense it. Let's try that.
You cast, or not cast, but you open up your divine senses as a paladin and look around searching for anything that might tip off your radar, so to speak. Looking around, however, you see no undead, no celestials, no fiends. Nothing that seems to be within view at any rate.
And it doesn't smell like evil around?
Nothing that you can immediately detect, no.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, she'll relay all that information. Definitely take some time to really check because she wants to be very certain.
Yeah.
Sure, you can make a perception check if you'd like to search around.
Yeah, let's try that.
Yeah.
No, we will not. We will not be doing anything with that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. What'd you get?
An 8.
Gotcha. Yes. Glancing around, you take a quick cursory scan of the area around the edge of the tree line while the others sit tight. I'm just checking behind a few bushes and behind a few trees and glancing back a little forlornly across the river. By the time you make it back to the rest of the group, You hear footsteps approaching through the underbrush, and Esmeralda appears, carrying something in the palm of her right hand.
While I'm looking, before I have a fun interaction with Esmeralda, she's also trying to use her blind sight to see if like anyone might be spying on them. So is that a separate check, or is it just like she can see it?
Yes, I mean, with your blind sight, you would be able to see anything invisible if you got close enough. You don't see anything that seems to turn up near you.
While she's midway through, Earthmoody would also ask her to try the magic sense that she showed him back at Ismark and Irina's place.
Yes, okay, I can do that as well. Hold on.
And DM, since I came back later, could I say that I run into Esmeralda on the way back?
I think that's reasonable. Okay. Sure.
Cool.
All right, so she also opens her awareness to the presence of concentrated magic within 60 feet.
Very good. Glancing around you, you notice... I don't think you have any magical items on you. I guess you would see the...
My spell scrolls, but that's pretty much it.
Yes. You would also see, I suppose, a small bit of... I'm not sure what it is. Whatever it is for Earthrendir's Sending Stone, you would see a faint glimmer of magical aura, but nothing new there. And as Esmeralda returns, you see glittering of magic, though not specific to a school, coming from the rapier and hand axe at her side, as well as the leather armor that she wears. But otherwise, you don't see any other things that are of particular note.
So she would, just sort of give a nod to Ez as she comes back, but relay all this information that there's nothing that isn't already with us, that there's no one that seems to be spying, at least in the immediate vicinity, and that there doesn't seem to be any sort of untoward presence in the area, so that we're as safe as we possibly could be in this area.
Earthendir lets out a long breath. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Ever since Ez demoed that clairvoyant spell to see what was going on with Victor, I've started getting a little bit more paranoid.
No, I mean, as much as I can do it, I'm happy to make everyone feel comfortable. I can also do something else if you want.
What is it?
Oh, that's not for everyone. Never mind. I thought it was for everyone. Sanctuary only works on one person.
Yep. Save that.
Okay, never mind.
Well,
as you
on the way. Oh,
yeah,
I was just gonna say on the way back when Metron intercepts, as he looks over to her, whispers a bit, "Oi, your mama asking, is all this done a fortune teller's that KG?"
You're asking Esmeralda this?
Yes.
She gives you a look and then a chuckle. It is, I suppose, a bit of a occupational hazard, I have heard. I suppose that is why I never quite settled into it. It requires a bit of an air of contemplation that I prefer action myself. But I have heard that seers can be a bit cagey about certain things, and, Madame Eva is quite a legend amongst our people. So I would not be surprised if she is in a bit of a league of her own, so to speak.
So you think what she's saying, is going to be helpful, though? Like, if we get all these things, we stand a chance.
I think that, I certainly agree. I would not suppose that, that this is the only things that we should do. There may be other tools or other allies we might be able to glean elsewhere in the realm, but if Madame Eva speaks of these things in particular, then, of course we must discuss it with the others, but I should think that if we are to succeed, then it shall certainly perhaps be pivotal on whether we are able to claim the items that Eva has accounted for.
Yeah, fair point. That's right. And as they're clearing and seeing the others, Metron will salute them in a mocking way.
Earthendir returns it, not looking up.
Lillison sits down and looks over towards Earthrendir. I would guess that the biggest danger here is somebody here going and informing Lord von Zervich of what we have learned themselves.
Oh, sure. But when we're facing an enemy that can, well, twist our minds to his own, we can't really worry about that. I mean, we can, but it won't do anything.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm saying we don't really have an option, do we? Like, sure, we can try and compartmentalize and make sure only one person has the information, but I get the sense that finding these items is not going to be some easy feat. So we need everyone to know, we need everyone to be able to discuss it, and, well, we cannot really control when the vampire comes by and tries to sweep one of us off our feet with his magic mind whammy, so we trust, we take precautions, and we do what we do.
I actually, DM, have a question about something.
Mm-hmm.
Does protection from evil and good or sanctuary prevent scrying in any way? Or help give us a little bit of an advantage against it?
It would not. So protection from evil and good only affects attack rolls, charm, frightening, and possessing. Scrying does none of these things.
Okay. Damn, I thought that would be another bonus. Never mind. Sorry for interrupting
All
the
good.
roleplay.
Fair thought. You're good.
Well, I can put my fingers in my ear if it helps.
No. Now that the information is out, there is certainly no point in trying to not have a frank and full discussion among us, but I mean, think about it. If you are the lord of a land and there is somebody in your lands who has been telling people how to kill you for dozens, if not hundreds of years, then why would you still suffer them to live? Surely you would not, unless they are still cooperating with you in some way. I think that we should be anticipating. Certainly none of these items or people to be easy to reach, and I believe we should expect that he knows as much as we do.
I disagree. Look, she says the fates can't be made more specific for anyone, and I can't imagine that he breaks that rule. He's here the same way that we all are. So I think we do have the benefit of these being as vague to us as they would be to him. At least some of them.
Vagueness, yes, perhaps. I do not think that she would go to the trouble of clarifying for him, but I think that he knows just as much as we do, and has experience on us.
If this last card is, referring to him, then surely he knows where he looks in the darkness.
Right, but also, why would he go seeking out these items that could potentially harm him? I mean, wouldn't they just harm him if he got them?
To destroy him, probably.
But he'd take some damage if he was trying to destroy them, I'm sure.
Or to wait in the hopes of ambushing us before we arrive.
As you said that Madame Eva was revered among the Vistani, but like Lil said, if she's been doing this for a long time, she's been operating, giving others like us fortunes and whatnot. Strahd's got to know. And when he says his name, he covers his mouth reactively. He must know. So what is their deal then? What's the deal that they have? Like, is he afraid of her? Are they working together?
That I cannot know. As I have said, Madame Eva is a bit of a living legend amongst my people, but, well, I cannot even say if Madame Eva is her true name. No one that I know of knows of her true purpose. No one that I have spoken to knows of why she chooses to remain in Barovia. For certainly she could depart if she chose, but as for why she remains here, as for why she provides such fortunes to those who request them, or at least why she provides such reasons to those that she feels appropriate, that I cannot know. But all I do know is that Vistana even if one's heart is corrupted, if one is a seer, to lie about what the fates would tell would seem to me at least to be quite a horrific thing. How those have been cast out of the Vistani for lesser crimes. But as far as she would betray us, I do not know that she would. Though, of course, this is conjecture. I think that, if she would, then she already would have done so, and there's nothing we can do about it from this point onwards. So I think that if we want to do our best to try to keep the information that we do know, or at least our calculations and interpretations of it, from reaching the wrong eyes and ears, and that is surely a worthy goal. If nothing else, Zarovich is not omniscient, and any things that we can do to cover our tracks or cover where our tracks may be headed is certainly not a bad idea.
Ez, do you have that map that you had in your wagon?
I do, yes. Would you like me to take it out then?
I think it might be helpful. I think I know where one of them is. I'm not going to say it, of course, but maybe I'll point it out and we can see if we agree.
And she will pull out the map.
Ooh.
So, looking at the map, and then she's going to, look at Irina one more time that, I think this is it. She's going to just take, the little, pen out of her bag that she uses to write in her notebook and just write weapon next to Kresk.
Lillison nods.
Metron nods too.
Earthendeer will burp. Yeah, Earthendeer agrees.
Amity holds out her hand for the pen.
Okay.
And
yeah, she'll hand it over.
Amity then outlines the east edge of Castle Ravenloft. And writes Morning Light.
Earthendeer's eyebrow quirks, and then kind of realization hits him.
Metron gives her a sharp look when she does that and starts shaking his head now.
Amity raises an eyebrow and gives him the pen.
He takes it and writes above it, "No way am I going there."
Amity rolls her eyes and says, eventually.
See, Kiva would take the pen and instead write Morning Light at the Abbey. That's where she thinks Ava was talking about.
You see as Earthendeer pulls out his own pen.
Ruining Esmeralda's map. Positively destroying it.
It's okay.
Yes.
It's not like cartographers didn't have printing presses in fantasy D&D where she got this. No, it's not like this is hand drawn or anything.
Yeah, and he circles the area by the Wizard of Wines and writes guild member, bottles.
Metron shrugs and circles around Velaki and puts some question marks above it.
Kiva again thinks perhaps the Abbey as well, because she writes the word tomb and underlines it. Neither of the churches had mausoleums in their graveyards.
Maybe maybe tomb is a colorful language thing, I don't know. But here, and he starts to scribble in an arrow pointing both at, an arrow pointing back and forth at the Wizard of Wines and the Blue Water Inn, Velaki.
Wilson sits back and, after the very first circling of Kresk, she has been not paying so much attention, but after a moment she pulls out her own pen as well, leans forward and just puts a light dot at the little estate next to the Luna River.
What is that?
That's Arkenvossel.
Okay. I'm like, what the fuck?
Metron looks at Lillison in a kind of quizzical way. What is that?
As good a guess as any.
For which one?
She shrugs.
I mean, there's only one castle that she talked about, and it's the castle that
Right.
none of us, particularly me, want to visit. So I
Maybe
feel,
we make that our last stop.
well, listen, we got the dress. Maybe we just go over to the abbot. As you could pop in and say hello.
Yeah.
And we'll pop in after you and give him a dress, and we'll stack up our resurrection credits, and then we can maybe wander a little bit further down, and maybe do some
Swing by the pool
sightseeing.
again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe go for a dip.
Dragna.
Nods.
Or,
Yes.
Sorry. Remind me, when we've heard Argynvostolt referred to, have we heard it referred to as an order of paladins or just knights?
You've heard of specifically. Let me check my notes here real quick. You have only heard that it is reportedly haunted. That a dragon evidently died there long, long ago, and that it is haunted. That's all you
There
know.
were some knights involved.
I don't remember any mention. Of
Okay,
knights,
no, I
personally.
trust your notes. Right.
Well, I believe you heard from Casimir that there was an order of knights involved with a dragon that did fight against Strahd on his invasion into the valley. You learned that from Casimir. He didn't speak of the mansion itself, but you have heard of an order of knights and a dragon that fought against Zarevich.
Alright, that's all.
So
Before we go back to Kresk, just in case there's something closer by, no longer soling the map, Amity draws this in the dirt with her tail. It's a stick figure with a raven head holding a sword.
Kiva shakes her head a little bit. If Amity is talking about the were-raven that helped us, Kiva's gonna think she said specifically old, and this one didn't seem old. It had and look at Metreon to confirm that his voice did sound distinctly like a young man, like their age range.
Yeah, I mean,
Are you scratching this in the dirt? Are you talking about this?
She would explain that like he sounded younger than Ava mentioned.
Then, well, surely he'd know the older one, at least.
It can't hurt
Good
to
place
check
to
in with
start.
them.
well, I mean, we know that these guys, and Metran points to Valaki. These guys know this guy, and he points towards the Wizard of Wines, wherever that is. So, I mean, I feel like we could start just going between the two of them. Maybe one of them knows. I mean, it talks about bottles, and these guys have bottles. And
So we start here, and she's going to point to Valaki. Then we go here to Kresk. She'll point there. And then down to the Wizard of Wines, potentially.
Earthendeer nods, and then kind of a horrible look strikes him. Where it said that, like, Strahd would be, the morning light, or sacred, he points to the village of Barovia. Do y'all remember that church and what we heard?
Yes, but
Yeah.
surely he wouldn't have been down there.
I'm not saying he's there, but if that, that's about as a sacred place as, maybe it's not him, but it might be connected.
Look,
Or
as much as I
the Abbey.
Yeah. As much as I don't like to say it, we're gonna have to head back there anyway, eventually, because we are eventually going to have to deal with the castle. So it can't hurt to check that church, because it had that symbol like Lucian had, didn't it?
yeah,
The sunburst.
the sunburst. Yeah, more than
Earthendeer kind of nods. Well, I think with these sort of clues, we go certainties, then probablys, then maybes. That lessens the opportunity of Strahd finding things out and getting two places before us. I'd call that a maybe. So I'd say we hit the one we know to be true first.
I think that's fair. And
Yeah.
when we get over there, we turn in the dress, and I feel a little bit more comfortable on the road if we got that in.
We
Yeah, absolutely.
should be careful at the Abbey, though, because that is another potential place of great holiness.
And a certain holy figure's relationship with a certain unholy figure might be a little suspect as well.
Also,
Well, as long as we stay on his good side and deliver him this beautiful dress, if he keeps up his end of the bargain, it gives us a little bit of an even footing with Strahd.
Also, we should keep in mind what locations could be along the way to others. For example, what are we doing about Victor?
I'm not doing nothing. Why do we need to do something?
Didn't we leave him with the elf, Casimir?
Yeah, he's good.
Not forever.
He's learning elf history. He's all right. We got work to do, you know.
We
Yeah,
can't take a
which is why
child
I'm-
with us on this. Like, there's no place for him to stay with us.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying at some point, not soon, maybe in a few days, once we've checked on some of these leads, we need to get him somewhere safe. Casimir's temporary. See if the Kreskovs can find a place for him. I don't know, but that's
Sure, the Kreskovs will be safe with him.
no. But I don't think anyone in the valley is safe with him, except for maybe Casimir.
So maybe we just leave him there. I mean, he gives me the creeps.
Oh,
I would not want to do that to Casimir.
likewise.
Victor is very powerful. He is more powerful than Erthrindir or me, and there are ways that we can turn that to our advantage.
What if we just
Here-
lock him in that tower that turns off your magic?
Wait, I
think
think I
it
see
gets
what you're
both of
saying, though,
them.
Lil. You may maybe, bring a little firepower with us.
Not a boy.
He's a teenager. We're not doing that.
Well, then, what else? Then he's no use to us, then. Leave him with Kaz or throw him in the tower. We got stuff to do. Let's head west, let's get our things, and work our way back.
Wilson
I agree
looks
with Metron.
over to Erthrindir and says, "You know as well as I do that sometimes people can provide a great deal of help from behind the front lines."
Erthendir squeezes his eyes shut, massaging his temples. And if at all possible, I would prefer to keep him from having to be even involved in this. His family's just been murdered. How about we give the kid a little time before we draft him into our own little Mapcast quest, eh?
Time enough for him to recover, or time enough for him to turn whatever violent impulses he has in a very unfortunate direction.
Like I said, we put him in that tower and make sure he can't leave then. Lock the
I
door
am
behind
not.
us.
I am not allowing anybody to be put into a tower where they do not want to be.
Well, what are you suggesting is the alternative? He kills all of us when he decides to turn of age, or we put him in a place that he can't hurt anyone?
Erthendir holds up a hand. I can't believe
Lilson
Go
is
ahead.
staring at Kiva with just this look of utter shock and horror on her face.
I'm not suggesting kill him, but like, he needs to... If you're that worried about him, if you're that worried about anyone we put him with, then maybe it's best that he stay in a place where he can't hurt anyone.
Lilson stands up and walks away.
Am I saying something that's so outrageous?
Yes.
Then fine, let him kill whoever he wants when he realizes that the world is actually a shit place. Kiva gets up and walks away too.
God, Erthendir just claws at his, or just puts his head in his hands. No fucking communication skills, I swear to God. Stick around for 5 seconds, work something out. Explain what the fuck the problem is. It's not that difficult.
I'm surprised it's not you and me doing that.
Erthendir shoots him a half kind of indignant, but half like, yeah, fair. Point taken.
I think we're overcomplicating things, and your boy Victor's been through some shit. There's no debating that, and he's got a lot of power behind him. And if it were up to me, I'd like to use that power, but it ain't. I feel like we just need to focus on one thing at a time. Be observant of things that are around us, but we know where one thing is. We know we have something, a boon to get from that area. Let's just focus on that first.
Earthendeer nods. That's good sense. That's very good sense. He'll be safe with Casimir for a few days. We can decide what to do with him when we get to that.
And listen, if you don't want to use him as a cannon, then you know what? You can have a bond with him after this is all done.
Earthendeer gives a hollow little laugh. It's not that I... Metreon, it's not that I like the kid. It's not that I want to be his best friend or his father figure or whatever. I just don't want him to go through this shit. It's not that I think he's like some sterling little spark. I just know what happens to people who don't have support or care when in times like this.
Well, like Lil said, he's more powerful than you or her. I think he can handle himself. And we gotta worry about us. We don't have his kind of power.
Earthendeer kind of gives Metreon a long look, and there's a mix of acceptance and a little bit of fear. And he nods a little hastily. Yeah, no, we don't. We don't have anything like that. We'll figure it out. And if we need to, I'm sure we can have him cast some buff spells on us before we go to the castle and die. That'll be that'll be fun.
It's going to be up to him how much he wants to help us. Unless you mean you're turning on your ultimate Earthendeer Persuader mode.
I think the ultimate Earthendeer Persuado mode kind of pales in comparison to anything Lillison can pull, but I could certainly try. Speaking of which, he stands.
After a moment, I was gonna say you see Kiva walk in the other direction, and then she very pointedly walks after Lillison and is trying to get her to talk. It's just like a complete 180 turn, and she's after Lillison.
If at all possible, is going to try and intercept Kiva for a moment before she gets to Lillison.
Yeah, she would stop. She's like, I'm not gonna hurt her or anything. I just want to talk. I apologize. I clearly hit a nerve.
Do you understand why you hit a nerve?
Well, no, she doesn't exactly talk to me.
Then would you mind if I helped you? Not talk to her, but I think I could explain a little bit.
Give me 5 minutes, and then yes, Look, if I fucked up, I want to be the one to say I'm sorry before someone else tries to mediate, if that's okay.
I'm not trying to mediate. I'm trying to help you understand before you get in there and make things worse. I'm not saying you would, but he kind of shakes himself. I'm sorry. If you want to go right now, and I won't stop you.
Yeah, Kiva just gives him a nod and then goes after Lillison again.
Lillison is standing comfortably far away from, everybody, and has summoned up one thing of acid and slammed it into the ground, and is currently just staring at her hands.
Not the beats though, right?
What?
Sorry about that. That was my boyfriend in the background, everyone. I'm gonna kill him. Okay, so Kiva would eventually, once she feels that Lillison is not going to turn around and acid splash her, if that is a feeling that she could get, she would just come over and stand about 10 feet away, looking out the same way that she is, and just say, I'm sorry.
Lillison looks over towards her, and her face is perfectly expressionless.
Look, clearly I hit a nerve with something I said. And, you don't have to tell me why. I'm not asking you, but I didn't mean any offense. If he's that much of a threat, if you're that afraid of his powers, We could give him food, supplies. Maybe Rictavio could check in on him. He seems as good as influence as he's gonna get. He's a kid, though, and I don't think it's wise to start dragging him around with us. Not with what we're planning to do.
I think what we give him is knowledge and a choice.
When you have that much power, the choice to do wrong is pretty easy, Lillison.
It should still be a choice that is given.
You and I are clearly coming at this from two different angles. I've seen what happens when people like Victor grow up unchecked.
Lillison's face crumples, and she buries her face in her hands. There is a tiny little sizzle from where, her focus is being pressed against her face.
Kiva, winces a little bit when she hears that, and, makes a move to try to pull her hand away from her face so that the sizzle stops, but then doesn't touch her. I don't mean to make you cry, and I remember the story you told me in the inn. We can give him that same choice, and also give him a safe place to make that decision. If you want me to go away, I'll just go. I might be making this worse. Erthendir said I would.
What is safe? Safe for the world? Safe for the monster? What? Is there a way to live so that your life is not an offense against the world?
I haven't found it yet. So no, I don't know if there is. In my understanding of monsters, and I'm not saying that boy is a monster, he's a boy. Monsters will do what they are wont to do, no matter where you put them. I've carried on the same way I was pre-Barovia, in Barovia. But I know that place, that anti-magic place, Strahd can't get into. Angry mobs of people looking for the last of the Burgomaster's family can't get in there. No one can use magic there to try to hurt him or draw him out. So as far as safety in Barovia goes, yes, that is the safest place that he could possibly be. Other than with Casimir, which I thought was going to be a sort of indefinite deal, but found out it's not.
Lillison pulls her hands away and wipes at her face for a while. Kiva, since this appears to be the day when everything comes out, whether or not I want it to, the story that I told you.
It was true.
It was true. I was the child.
Then surely you would understand, or I'd hope that you would understand from what you know about me, and from everything that I have told you, that I would not wish that on a boy, not even on my worst enemy. But we can't protect him. And I can't imagine that the 5 of us raising a boy would allow him to see, you know what, maybe the world is a good place.
They put me in a tower so that I could not hurt anyone else anymore just by being around them. This is the first time since that day, half my life ago, that I have been in a place where I could go where I pleased and do what I wanted and feel as if anything that I did could make a difference in the world rather than waiting in 2 rooms for my life to end.
So what do you propose we do?
I think we need to give him a choice and say there are so many problems in the world, and perhaps you are too powerful, perhaps you will use your powers wrongly, but you can do something, and it will mean something.
Lillison, if I heard that, I would be compelled to fight for something that I am not ready for as a 17-year-old. We can explain how the tower works, explain exactly what it does, tell him how to get inside of his own free will so that he can choose to leave and go as he pleases, but that he knows that he has a place where he is untouchable and can make those decisions and grow up free of having to fight a battle that no one asked him to fight. And then when this is done and we can go, we offer him the choice to go with us. Outside, like he's wanted to do. And
having the choice to stay, I suppose there will always be people who want to stay, like Vasilka. But just because you would take the choice to take up arms and fight, that is because you, Kiva, are a good person who can never turn her back on somebody else's fight. I don't think Victor is that sort of person. I think he has spent his life perfectly willing to say no. I don't think that will change now.
Kiva very briefly looks like she's going to vomit when Lillison says that she is incapable of turning her back on a fight. I did not mean to offend you, or to hurt you, or to make you think that, even for a moment, you or anyone deserves to be put away for what you are. As I've told you from pretty much the first time we had a conversation alone, I think you are incredible. And strong. And I know you know this, you did not deserve anything that happened to you. And the people who made you feel like you are anything less than what you are, or twisted what you are into something more, they don't deserve to be in the same plane as you.
I don't see where the difference between my story or Victor's lies. And there is no blame to be given. In my story, my parents did as they thought was best for everybody, and perhaps it was best for everybody. It was certainly a comfort to me, knowing that I would not be accidentally killing anybody else. But this is who I am, Kiva. I am a monster who kills people that she is close to, and this is what I will be for the rest of my life. And I swear that it is the happiest that I have ever been to know that I can put that towards a good purpose, killing a monster who chose to be a monster.
I can tell you from experience, not as satisfying of a feeling as you think it is.
It's the journey and not the destination, yes?
Yeah. You could say that. Kiva looks very small right now. Physically and emotionally. She looks very sorry. And she would say that again. I should have let Earthendeer do this. And she'll walk away.
Earthendeer's waiting at the lake's edge, kind of where where Kiva had to go.
You were right. She's just gonna go off in the woods until she's far enough away to just scream.
Wait, please. Do I take it you understand why she reacted the way she did now?
Kiva doesn't say anything.
Randy, I mean, look at her. I think she gets it.
That's not what I was trying to say.
Look, you don't need to rub it in any more than it's already been done. Can I go now?
He, opens his mouth. Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much. And she continues on, like I said, until she is far enough away that she can just scream in the woods.
Well, Kiva and Lillison were having that conversation. And you watch as Kiva just makes her way into the darkness, and soon enough the boughs and the canopy of the trees kind of come in behind her, and she vanishes into the shadows. Emily, I believe you had asked Esmeralda for something.
That is true.
Okay, so as Esmeralda as Lillison and Kiva make their way beyond the bushes and to have their own conversation, Esmeralda kind of coughs and turns toward you. So you were looking for something that can see the future, or something of that nature? Yes.
Do you have one?
Well, I have something that might be of service. It does not quite have the history that Madame Ava's does, but nonetheless. And she holds out her palm toward you. You see a small wooden box holding there that she offers toward you.
Oh my gosh! Emily takes it and opens it.
It opens easily enough. It's a fine, dark, oak-like wood. And inside, you see what seems to be a small, rectangular shape wrapped in a silk cloth. And as you pull away the cloth, you see on the back end slightly different design, but of a very familiar aesthetic. You see the curls and the swirls of black and white spiraling across the backs. You can see depictions of intricate patterns like lattice work across the back of the card. Esmeralda just kind of raises an eyebrow and says, "Go ahead, take a card."
Amity runs her fingers through the cards, sort of turning them over, looking at the artwork. These are beautiful. And then just sort of tries experimentally dealing a few out. No real rituals happening yet. She finds the cards that Madame Ava showed her.
As you go through, you do in fact see that it is a full deck of Tarokka cards. Slightly different illustrations, hand-drawn, beautifully illustrated and colored. And easily enough, you are able to find, after some searching, the priest, the guild member, the healer, the raven, and the artifact, and lay them down across a dry patch of earth.
Can I use them sometimes? I mean, when you're not.
She shrugs. But of course, so long as we are traveling together, I don't see why not. And who knows? I am not exactly seer material myself, so I've dabbled a bit. But perhaps they will serve you better.
Amity clutches them to her chest excitedly. Thank you so much. These are amazing. She turns to whichever of her companions are not currently storming off. I was thinking, I don't know if this is the best time to bring it up, but if this wouldn't hamper our like coded communications, maybe I could do a sending to that person, that raven with the sword, and maybe ask them if they know anything about where the old one is.
That probably would mess with the communication, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's got ears and eyes everywhere, you know. We know what he's done with, and he gestures over to Earthendeer with his communications.
Yeah.
You're saying that he might intercept it?
Yeah.
Probably.
Is it possible that, well, if I were to use these cards to try to predict whether he intercepted it, would that be a good idea?
I don't know. You know your own magic. If you want to try, I'm not going to stop you. I'm sorry. I've just got stuff on the mind. Yeah, go for it.
I might wait till, well, a better time to maybe ask Lillison as well, just make sure.
Yeah, no, it's a good plan. Don't get me wrong. If you think it's a good idea, then do it. You have as much right to make your own. You don't have to wait on the tacticians or whatever.
But the tacticians are smart and tactical.
Yes, and so are you. you don't get to. There's obviously like something else going on, but he is kind of struggling through it. You don't. It's okay. You don't have to rely on us. You can just, if you have a good idea, then do it. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're
Alright.
pretty clever. You know, just play to your strengths.
All right. If you trust me, then I'll do it. But it might take a while, and I actually will need to lean on one of you to help. I think I need to do a séance.
Shit, that
You
really?
can do one of them.
Hopefully. I mean, it'll be my first time trying. I don't think I could have done it before I got here.
What you mean? Yeah, speaking of which, so everyone, how do you? And you see that he's now struggling to articulate what he wants to say. No, you both know about magics, yeah? I mean, how do you, like wizards? You know, they read about stuff and you know things like that. But like you both just what you tell stories, you sing songs, you talk to ghosts. But how do you get more magic? You know?
Earthendeer kind of looks up from the funk he's been in. Well, it's a process, but I'd be happy to go through the theory with you if you like.
I'm interested.
All right. So, he kind of sits down with Metreon, and then he pulls his wand from his holster and hands it to him. You see this? This is what we call a focus. Now, it doesn't seem like you've needed to use one for the magic you've cast so far, right? You've kind of done that extemporaneously.
I guess so.
Well, the thing about... Okay, and you're looking to see if you can, like, channel new magic, right?
I guess so.
Hey, yeah. So far, what's been the common denominator in all the spells you've cast so far? What's been happening? How have you done it? Like, what have all of them shared?
And he starts to kind of suck on his little forked tongue, part of it sticking out, biting into it a bit, trying to think. Well, I mean, I don't know what any of them's called or nothing, but when I was back at the winery, you know, when I got angry and I saw that druid slapping you all around, you know, I pounded the wall and I heard this loud bell sound, and then when I was at the church, when I saw when Strahd was there, I reached out trying to grab him, but I was too far away. And so when I did, I extended my hand, and my hand appeared on him like ice. And then when he got us in Kresk, I was panicking, and I was afraid that I was gonna die, and all this ice got all over me, and even back when we was at the Burgermasters and Isaac cut into me, I felt this like cold come over me, and I felt myself just like on the brink, but then I shot back up, right, and I had this energy, this vigor that I knew I had before.
Earthendeer's like staring at him, eyes shining. Got in one. So you see what all of those share, right? Urgency, intent. Like you were in, right? Something, life or death, something was about to happen. You needed help. And so it came, right?
Yeah, I guess that's the way to look at it.
Yeah. So magic is complicated, and I'm not sure that what I'm going to say will hold true to you, but he kind of takes his wand back and creates the image of a shimmering flower in the air. What you need to understand is that intent, that kind of need, that can be a source. But if you're going to learn to use this how you want to use it, if you're going to let it own it instead of letting it own you, then you need to learn to turn that into what you need it to be. So remember when you cast that spell on Lillison and you had that you said you didn't mean to?
Yeah.
Well, ideally, if once you're able to control your magic, you'd be able to turn that intent, that kind of emotion that you were drawing on, and make it cast any spell you wanted. So, for instance, let's say that we're back in that horrible night. And, there are people who are, those wolves and ghouls are gnawing at you, but you don't want to create armor. You need to do something else because, I don't know, maybe one of your friends is in danger. Maybe you want to teleport away. So you find a way to focus and turn that energy, that worry, whatever it is you're drawing on, and make it do what you want. It's hard. It is incredibly hard, and it's why 2 of the members of our group are currently stomping off in separate directions. Because it is hard as hell. And you're not going to get it easily, but once you can turn this magic, this need, and make it work for you, then you'll be able to create all the spells you want, Metreon.
Right. So I just got to focus and try and stuff like that.
Which is no, that's silly. I mean, meditation and such will help, but the main thing is finding something you can use. I use my wand because it helps me focus on what I need to happen instead of just whatever emotion is, trying to make it happen. Because, if I try and cast without any of my focus, if I'm scared or angry, then my magic's going to reflect scared or angry, you understand? And I don't want that. If I'm going to cast a healing spell, I want it to be a healing spell, not a gout of fire because I thought this person was being rude to me a bit earlier.
Right. Yeah. DM, how much time has passed since we arrived at the camp?
By now, I imagine it's been perhaps 60, 90 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So the amount of time that's passed since the start of the day, assuming you left the Dusk Elves around, I'd say maybe 10 in the morning.
Oh, no, you already answered my question. Okay. So at this point, I would say, as Metreon has been talking with you, Randy and Amity, you would see, and any of the NPCs who are around, would start to see that the makeup, quote unquote, that he was wearing starts to sort of dissolve and become the pink skin and the white hair again.
Oh.
This is what I mean.
Okay. I'm taking in that wasn't makeup. That's fine. So, Earthrendeer kind of closes his eyes. Take my wand again.
I might have to pay you this time. Yeah.
Look, buddy, you may be an 8, but I'm committed, and no.
An 8. And he snatches the wand. Bloody 9.5, 10. To you.
Shush. If you're an 8, fine. If you're a 10, I'm a 15. But at any rate,
you're bloody 3 to me. Go on.
Okay, so you need to bring that spell back, the one that kind of made your skin change color. Focus on what you want to happen, that need. But instead of letting it be about, whatever's fueling it, I don't know what's fueling it, the fear or the anger, it's usually one of the two for me. Focus on the wand. Focus on your breathing and bring it into existence.
Metreon holds Randy's wand in his hand firmly, kind of dragging his thumbnail across it a bit as he's trying to sit and concentrate, eyes closed. And he takes this in, takes his words in, and they start to drift away. And as he does so, Earthendir and Amity and any of the NPCs around would watch as Metreon's white hair starts to go into this sort of brown ginger shade and starts to grow very long. His pointed ears become even more elongated. His skin becomes sort of a pasty white with a big scar across the face. I think I did it. I feel it. Did I change? And he looks down at his hands. What the hell is this?
I don't recognize you, but yeah, it worked.
Oh, you recognize me.
I was gonna say, I feel like there's only one person that's pasty white with a scar on his face.
Oh, god damn it!
Oh god.
Earthendir's just staring at him with a look of, like, between abject horror. Oh, god, it extends that far down. Holy shit.
What do you mean? Extends far down. And you start to see him rifle through his bag looking for his compact. He pulls it out. Oh god, I'm a free.
He falls over.
Holy shit, I've never seen me from this angle. I didn't know my nose did that. Amity, does my nose do that? That's weird. And the scar, it's like, holy, yeah, right, congrats. You did it.
Metron
Unless you're...
throws the wand back at Randy and like shakes his head, and as he does, it sort of shakes away the visage of Earthendir and goes back into pink Metreon mode. Ugh.
I'd have to look at you a little longer to be sure, but I feel like if you went behind a hut and just came out, then I might have trouble figuring out which one was which.
Earthendir looks a tiny bit offended at this.
I mean, as soon as you started talking, I'd be able to figure it out.
Fair enough, but yeah, no. What did it feel like when you tried to cast that?
I felt that cold go up my spine the first time I felt it in my dream, and then I just felt like this, like kind of like the tingling sensation when your foot falls asleep or your hair starts to stand on end. And at this point, Metreon looks back and sees if he can see Esmeralda or Irina or Ismark.
I mean, they're probably still around where Amity and Esmeralda are. So if Amity's come over, they're kind of like... I mean, you've moved a bit away from the group, I imagine, right?
Oh, we were with Amity, so I guess they'd be...
Yeah, they're currently present.
All right, so Metreon looks up at Esmeralda and smiles, and as he does, he very, in that same dissolving kind of way, dissolves into Esmeralda.
She glances at you and grins very, like, tightly. There's a bit of a shudder. Don't do that. That is... brings back bad memories of a time I met particularly unfriendly doppelganger.
Oh, I'm so sorry. And he like scrubs his face, and as he does, the spell wears off.
It's good. It's quite impressive. I imagine that there were a few times when I could have been quite grateful for such an ability.
Yeah, no, this is incredible. So, okay, that's good. You can do it on command. That's fantastic, actually. Earthendir looks a little sheepish. Does that kind of answer your question, I guess?
Yeah, I think it does. Maybe
All
a
right.
bit. I don't know. It's all a bit heady for me right now. But you know what? I'm gonna just take it. I'm gonna roll with it. And he gets up and starts to walk away. And as he does, he starts to turn into Blinsky, and then drops that, goes back into Metreon, and then just starts to rifle through some of the other NPCs like Victor, and he ends up on Father Lucian and shudders and drops it and goes back to his own form and starts to walk towards the area that Kiva had gone to.
Esmeralda
just
kind of watches you go with a small amount of looking both impressed and mildly disturbed. I've never seen someone who can repeat that kind of magic so many times. It almost ceases looking like magic after a certain point.
Yeah, he's I don't know where he's pulling his magic from, but I'm happy he's got a bit more control now. That's what I was hoping for.
He's really good at it.
He is. It's very impressive. I didn't recognize myself for a moment.
You said that the reason that I'm getting sort of more magic is because the danger is making me focus.
I think so, yeah.
Is there any way to get more magic without being put in gobs of danger?
He laughs, and then kind of realizes she's being serious. Yeah. So, and understand, I'm an amateur. I don't know very much. I just kind of what I've picked up from a million books and some own theorizing. But magic, yeah, you can pick it up like that. It takes practice and a lot of time and a lot of commitment. And a lot of commitment to owning it and not letting it own you. But yeah, you can do that without doing that. It just kind of, this whole place has fast-tracked us all, I suppose.
But I guess there's no feasible way to start doing that right now. It won't be as fast as the danger method.
He shakes his head. Don't think so.
Amity stares out into the river. Or I guess we're by a lake now.
It's a river.
Oh, good.
Earthwind, go ahead.
Would you be willing to help me do the seance?
He nods. Always. Anything. And after that, would you be willing to help me work out what to say to Kiva when I come back?
Absolutely.
Thank you. It's like half an apology, half an admission. It's gonna be a mess.
I wish I knew how to handle this kind of thing better.
Me too.
We'll figure it out.
We will.
This might end a little bit silly. I don't know. We might just be sort of standing in the water for a bit, or by the water for a bit. But hopefully something cool happens, or at least hopefully I don't look entirely silly.
Never. Okay, sometimes, but you managed to make silly look elegant.
Do you have any candles or anything like that?
Earthwind does. He pulls a candle out of his pack.
Right. Amity is going to move towards the lapping shore and draw a classical pentagram shape in the dirt with her tail. And then set the candle in the center. And she's going to sit down just inside the pentagram.
He will. So where do you need me?
Just opposite, on the other side of the candle.
Yeah, he'll settle down.
Sort of doing this by feel. I don't quite have this down like Metreon does.
Metreon did not have it down 10 minutes ago. I think you are welcome to figure things out.
All right. So I think now it might take a while. So you're going to have to be patient, but let's just wait and meditate and try to get in tune with all the spirits floating around here. And as Amity sort of settles into a just sort of meditative, just sort of looking straight ahead, the flame on the candle flickers and becomes this like blacklight purple color. But yeah, she's just going to just continue trying to feel a presence. This might take a while.
Okay. And so as the two of you seat by the side of the river, you hear the gentle lapping of the waves against the shore, the water flowing against its banks. You hear the rustling of the wind through the trees, and you can feel the chill of the faint tendrils of mist as they swirl across the earth and around your arms. In the distance, you think you hear a bird call and then fall silent. And further away, you can hear the crackling of the bonfire, the sounds of the Vistani at their camp, and slowly, strangely, the sounds begin to grow fainter, slighter, not as though they've vanished, but as though you're shifting your attention, like adjusting the focus of your eyes from that which is near to that which is deep or distant. But instead, you feel the sensation of something not quite like sound, not quite like hearing, but rather a resonance that you feel somewhere swirling in the back of your thoughts. At first, it's strange, almost somewhat indescribable, like a whispering, like a veil that you can feel yourselves pushing against. And beyond it, you can just faintly hear the distant sound of are those whispers? But surely you would have heard them before. It's impossible to tell any specific voice, but regardless of how they're there, you can hear them now mixing, rising like an undercurrent from beneath the lapping of the waves, like a constant white noise that bubbles beneath the surface of the things that one can see. And as you do, you feel yourself almost somewhat lighter as you slip deeper into the meditation, as the state of oneness kind of wraps around you, as you begin to release the tension from your muscles and open yourself, not only in body, but in mind. And you can feel it there more strongly now, the veil, the whisperings on the other side, and you can feel like if you were just to reach out very slightly and touch it, something could potentially pass through. Earthrin, do you feel a faint shiver down your spine? And Amity, you feel yourself right up against the side of that curtain. Do you push it aside?
Amity's going to just gently open the curtain and drift through. And Earthrin here?
Yeah. As well.
Okay. And as you do, you feel yourselves shiver. As a faint chill sweeps down your spines, you feel the darkness beyond your eyelids slowly dim. And as the whispers grow louder in volume, that is where we will take our break.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I love that flavor.
Okay.
Okay.
Would suck if they just talked to Strahd.
Yeah.
Just waiting there, sitting there like at the Black Lodge, just chilling.
Damn good coffee.
Mm-hmm. Everyone has to talk backwards in this seance, though.
All right, excellent. Well, we will pick this back up after a 15-minute break. Until then, please do enjoy a few other messages from our D&D community. Starting off with part 2 of our interview with Alex, a Ravenloft scholar, GM, and author. She'll be continuing her conversation about Rudolf van Richten and his history in the lore of Ravenloft. Please do enjoy, and we will see you back here very soon.
Welcome to Fireside Chat, a short interlude with weekly features where I, your host Job Lucas, will be showcasing and interviewing prominent D&D creators. This week, we are talking to Alex, a Ravenloft scholar, author, and dungeon master, about Van Richten's role in Ravenloft canon and his evolution in the story. Curse of Strahd Revamped attempted to correct some of the unfair stereotypes about the Vistani, but didn't do much to address Van Richten's racism in 5e. How do you, as a dungeon master and a scholar, address this change in your own games or in the larger discussion of Van Richten's character?
I say this with honesty and transparency because I think it's important to start with this. When I picked up Curse of Strahd in December of 2019, I was preparing to run it as my first game as a dungeon master, and I thought a published D&D game could do no wrong. To me, the entity known as Rictavio did fall in line with some racist creep who wants to kill fictional people. Session 5 of my campaign, my ranger player calmed down Van Richten's tiger and used Speak with Animals on it to learn that Rictavio's goal was to hunt Vistani. It was after I ran that session where I stepped back and I was like, I need to do deeper reading, not only of the module, but into these implications, because I didn't put in the work beforehand to understand why this was a problem beyond being fantasy genocide. I talked to my players out of game, which I often do, and I brought up discussions of how we needed to work to fix this, especially since they hadn't even met Esmeralda, and I was studying her as well. And Esmeralda and Van Richten's dynamic could not be more poorly written. And that was really the beginning of my Ravenloft journey as a whole, that and my discovery of Azel and Rex, but that's a different story. Point being, I had work to do, and it took to me finding resources on Romani history, current events, surrounding Romani people, and basically starting an educational pathway. And I think that that's what anybody who realizes their ignorance should do in any case. I can give some story fixes and all, but Rue's document puts it best. Van Richten's racist background has to go. Rue suggests that a cleaner, more table-friendly backstory is simply that Van Richten's village was attacked by vampires, and he wanted to put a stop to it. If your table can handle the more personal touch, then simply say that a clan of vampires took Erasmus for Baron Metis. Don't perpetuate the child stealer myth, and don't try to make excuses for his racism. At the end of the day, you can still make him a monster hunter, and you don't have to grapple with the mental gymnastics of, oh, well, he's racist, but he's nuanced. It just makes it seem like hatred of a group of people isn't enough to condemn a person. Before I talk about rewrites, I have to mention that Curse of Strahd, weirdly enough, is almost regressive. I don't want to give too much weight to my opinion on this subject because I'm not Romani, and that should be the forefront of that point. Earlier I mentioned Van Richten's Guide to the Vistani, which is a published supplement from the TSR 2nd edition AD&D Ravenloft. As many know, an element to Van Richten's character is this curse that he carries. Curses in Old Ravenloft come from many places, not only the Vistani, but Vistani curses come from the stereotype that Romani people are practitioners of dark magic, another myth detailed and explained by Rue that excused Romani persecution. In those older editions, and especially in 5th edition Curse of Strahd, a Vistani curse plagues Rudolph his entire career. In every guide he writes, his hunting compatriots all die but him. His curse is that he is to watch his loved ones die at the hands of all the undead, as his curse on the Radanaviches was that the undead should take them all. The Guide to the Vistani is about the last surviving Radanavich, a man named Arturi coming to Rudolph and asking him to break their mutual curse. Arturi is an outcast, he's in Vistana with no caravan, because his side of the curse causes him to be perpetually chased by the undead. Arturi basically scales Rudolph's building in Mordant. Rudolph wakes up and holds out a knife, and Arturi is like, hey, can we talk this out? Rudolph and Arturi speak on the terms of their mutual curses, and Arturi offers to show Rudolph the different Vistani lifestyles in an effort for their curses to be broken. So Arturi and Van Richten set off on this year or so long journey, and Rudolph writes the Guide to the Vistani, which details Vistani lifestyle and culture. At the end, Rudolph begs Arturi for forgiveness, and Arturi asks for forgiveness on behalf of his family name. The two of them break their mutual curses through understanding and education. Van Richten's guides of the 90s were good resources in many ways, yet they employed the Gisler used against Romani people very frequently, and the Guide to the Vistani is no different. While that guide does attempt to diversify and give the Vistani a wider representation of culture, it was still probably written based on a certain Western mystic view of Romani culture. I can't sit here and tell anyone to accept The Guide to the Vistani as a better narrative in any way, because I'm not Romani. To know that Van Richten, though, got some sort of arc, where he at least asked for forgiveness, regardless of how well or poorly it was done or how deserved it was, leaves a bad taste in my mouth that 5th edition sought to amplify his racism. Curse of Strahd had every opportunity to take this character and give him a venue to progress, but instead they chose to make his racism an active part of the narrative, to the point where he would repeat a genocide that he claims broke him in the previous edition. It doesn't sit well with me, and it shouldn't sit well with anybody, and it's why I believe Van Richten's history with the Vistani, with Arturi, and with Esmeralda needs a complete overhaul. Given all of that, I hope that we see an active change in Van Richten's story in the new product, because not only is he returning to an iconic old product line, he is now amongst the ranks of Mordenkainen, Tasha, Volo, and Xanathar, as being the face of something. Van Richten now sits up there in the product line with prominent Forgotten Realms figures. And technically Mordenkainen is Greyhawk, but we get the point. So if they're going to use him in that way, and judging by the comments made by the Ravenloft collaborative team, I hear that the project did use Romani consultants and was very conscious of writer concerns. At this point of recording this, we have no word on what they've done with Van Richten's past. I just want it to finally, if not address, then fix. I'm very curious to see what they did, and they have some high expectations to live up to. I love the writer team though, and I believe they will. On to fixes. In my discussions and writing, I've kept Arturi, not necessarily even as a part of Van Richten's quote redemption unquote story, because I'm not in a position to choose whether Van Richten gets redeemed or not. I kept him because I adjusted the story to my benefit, because the end of the Guide to the Vistani always read as heavily queer-coded to me. As a queer person, I know we get our eyes rolled at when we say we read things through queer lens, but reading Chapter 6 conclusion of the Guide to the Vistani, I really intensely feel that Arturi and Rudolph were written to fall in love. By the end of the story, they're fighting off zombies together, they break their curses, and they collapse into the grass, giggling and falling asleep together under the stars. Rudolph invites Arturi to move in with him and start a new life together. And removing the racist narrative, I'm choosing to keep Arturi as someone Rudolph loves. We haven't solidified why they met or traveled together yet. I've had some thoughts on how to adapt the guide, but before going deep into it, I would prefer to work with a consultant or to have somebody with the historical knowledge help me out with that. So if we don't get a fix in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, Lord knows I will be wanting to do it. Bring out Esmeralda, who is, in my opinion, easily the coolest part of 5th edition. She treats Rudolph like her father. And I'm supposed to believe that he doesn't love her back? There is no way in hell that their story should be played out as written, and as Ruth suggests, you can have Rudolph and Esmeralda cut ties because he fears for her safety. Those two have the potential for a wonderful mentorship moment. I added another caveat, that Esmeralda is Arturi's daughter. Even if the Radanavage storyline is removed and Rudolph has no ties to her that way, Esmeralda seeks him out to teach her how to be a monster huntress. She's fearless and she's powerful. She's smart and kind and adventurous, and Van Richten sees a daughter in her and sees bits of his own son. The reason for Arturi's involvement in timeline is still being worked out, and the story goes through a lot of revisions every time I learn something new, but regardless of whether you choose to have Arturi or choose not to, Esmeralda is by and by an adoptive daughter of Rudolph Van Richten. So why'd they break ties? In my writing, simply put, he's getting older. He is an old man, and she was gearing up to be in her prime. She may be his protege, but her style is different from his. She was ready to make her own name, so instead of shooing her off and, mistrust her because she's Vistana, I imagine that he opened a chest of gold, gave her a few bags worth of money, helped upgrade her vardo, tools, and weapons, and with a kiss on the forehead, he gave her his blessing. She wept a few tears as she waved goodbye to the old man, and she went to make a name for herself beyond Van Richten's protege. She went on to become Esmeralda de Avenir. Meanwhile, during the time he penned his guides, studied, and did other jobs, and began preparing for his greatest hunt yet. He was also running an herbalism shop in Mordant, so don't forget he was also probably just like selling tea. My point is, there is so much potential for Rudolph to actually be that beacon of hope, both in older editions and in 5th edition. If Barovia is already full of dread and constant tearing apart, why not find a way to make that happen?
My friends, it is I, Count Strahd von Zarovich, and I bid thee listen. The Guild of the Black Crow have produced over 5 hours of ambient sound design for my most beautiful and ancient land. As used by Twice Bitten, these ambient backgrounds include my most private and intimate of letters, as well as bonus tracks not found in the Dungeon Master's Handbook. So, hear me now. I guarantee you safe passage to their camp. Support them, and perhaps we shall meet sooner than you think.
If you think your hometown has problems, you haven't spent nearly enough time in the village of Barovia. Over the years, their taste for human flesh had only grown. The vampire spawn, the undead cult, the werewolf den. I just think we can do a little better here. Grab our shovels and we're going to add some depth to help you run your best Curse of Strahd. Strahd possible. You're welcome. He flies into a fit of rage that is unparalleled. There's child abuse galore through this thing. He's been nailed to the wall with very long iron spikes, and I imagine it's been a very uncomfortable time for him.
You see, in tracking a monster, one always needs proper bait.
And welcome back, everyone, to Curse of Strahd, Twice Bitten. As always, before we get started, just a few quick announcements. First off, thank you to all of the raiders and viewers watching on Twitch and subscribers on YouTube as well. We love you guys. Thanks for hanging out, and we hope you are enjoying the show. Secondly, as always, thank you to Foundry VTT, our continuing virtual tabletop sponsor. I know I'm certainly excited for their upcoming audio update, and I've been checking out lots of excellent modules lately, so definitely give them a look if you are looking for the market of virtual tabletop platforms. Otherwise, Twy, how are we doing on Twitch?
We are doing fabulous. Ever since all the 9 subscribed last week, then wow, we got a crop of new 10s here. But if you would like to join those 10s, then you can subscribe to Twice Bitten D&D on Twitch. It is the coolest web show in existence, and if you say otherwise, we will downgrade you to a 6, motherfuckers. It gets you such lovely benefits as emotes, supporting the show so it can be cool, as we're now in Season 2 and the budget's gone up. Wait, you gotta be ready. We're doing the live-action episode where we hire actors to play all our characters. It's gonna be great. But yes, thank you so much for everyone who's helped support the show, and Serena?
All right. I don't know how I'm going to follow the promise of live action Twice Bitten, but I'm going to try. If you like what you are watching, and I sincerely hope that you do, you can join the discussion, talk about your favorite moments on our subreddit, reddit.com/r/twicebittendnd. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/rcurseofstrahd, for all of our past sessions, fireside chats, video essays, and highlights from the stream. As always, thank you so much to our lovely Twitter followers. We have a bunch of new ones today, and I know some people were going to be checking it out due to our self-promotion Saturday, so welcome new visitors. Hope you like what you're seeing. And if you have any questions for After Dark, fan art, or just questions in general for the cast, you can reach us by email at twicebittencos@gmail.com.
All right. Thank you very much, guys, and thank you again to everyone for sticking around. I think that is all we have for now. So, where were we?
I believe we were parting the veil between life and death.
Ah, yes. So we were. And so, Amity and Erthrindir, as you together feel the whispering beyond the veil, as you open your senses and delve deeper into the meditation, as you part that veil and open yourselves to the beings or entities that may dwell beyond. Out of the corner of your eye, you see the arcane flame, the violet or purple that is so dark that it is almost black, that it seems to swallow up the light that dances from the wick of the candle at the center of the pentagram, flares, doubling in size, hissing and spitting sparks and embers before shrinking back to its ordinary size. But this time there's something different, more vivid about the candlelight. And as it flickers, continuing, you hear the whispering begin to grow louder as around you the gray light of the Barovian afternoon begins to shift. You watch as the shadows begin to grow longer, darkening, deepening, as the space around you, the trees, the tents, the bushes, even the river, feels almost insubstantial, indistinct, the edges growing fuzzy, almost ethereal. And as you open your eyes, you watch as the area around you begins to grow dark. As mists begin to swirl at the edges of the circle, soft, probing tendrils of fog and air mixing in the place where water, earth, flame, and wind meet. They swirl very faintly, and in the shimmers of mist you can see faint depictions of faces, and then a silhouette here or there that then vanishes, swirling into nothingness. But no, that was a face. Eyes, pale and dead, glancing forward for a moment. Here, dark hair, another one, a hand pressing against the edge of the circle. And slowly they begin to resolve into something clearer. Around you can see, at first, only a couple, and then a dozen, then dozens of silhouettes, ghostly and dark, inset with shadow, but still insubstantial. Fuzzy around the edges, their features like illustrations with the boundary lines removed, fading and fuzzing out into the atmosphere around them. You see amongst them men, women, children, mostly human, but amongst them you can see the occasional dotting of another race. You see elves, both you think dusk and otherwise. You see dwarves, orcs, you see a halfling or two, and toward the back you see a great towering silhouette with what seems like a bull horns, perhaps reminding you of illustrations you've seen of the Minotaur. All of them together, pushing forward, a crowd, a horde of spirits, of souls, pressing against the edges of the circle, with pleading faces, dark eyes, begging. But you watch as their fingertips press sadly against the edges of the circle and stop, as if meeting an invisible pane of glass that stops them there. They don't attempt to force their way through, but they push together, their forms blurring, shifting, almost in a way that makes it queasy to look at them. All of their eyes fixed on you, Amity. And then, after a moment, the whispers fall in volume, their dark gazes lingering, patiently, as if waiting to be called.
Amity's eyes open wide, and they are black with tendrils. A thunderclap booms overhead, and Amity calls, "Spirits!" as her voice booms. "Hear me! Answer if you can! Enter!"
Earthendeer's just pressed against the wall of the circle, his eyes wide and terrified.
You hear their voices mixing, gasping, rasping.
What do you seek? What do you wish to bind? Name it, name us, call us. What gift can we offer?
I seek the future.
The whispers flare into a bustle of conversation activity, and slowly, across a circle to your left, the crowd parts. The pale faces falling indistinct amongst the crowd as the wall of spirits makes way for one to slowly drift forward. It's an insubstantial shape, swirling with the edges of mist, but that slowly, as it reaches a finger toward the invisible glass that separates the inside from the outside of the circle where the spirits dwell, there's a ripple, as if across the surface of water. And the spirit relaxes as you watch its bony finger poke very faintly through. Slowly, it continues to spill forward, pushing its way as if through molasses, perhaps pushing aside a veil as it steps, flowing like silvery water into the center of the circle, hovering just over the candle. You can see that the silhouette... Sure. You can see that the silhouette takes on more form, a clearer appearance. It's, as the features become less indistinct, you see an old woman with silver hair and olive skin, a long stole over her shoulders marked with colorful patterns and iconography, with delicate silver chains hanging from her ears, gray frizzy hair marked with bright spots of silver that hangs over the sides of her head, in a way almost similar to Esmeralda, but older and softer with age. She fixes her dead eyes upon you.
You seek the future, child. Name what gift I may give.
I seek an augury, spirit. Name yourself, and give me your gift if you can. The voice, or the ground under them begins to tremble like in an earthquake.
The spirit, the Vistana, for that is what she appears to be, bows deeply.
Once I was called Damia, but today I am less. But what you seek, I can deliver it. Have you the keys of the inner sight? Present them to me.
Amity looks into the eyes of the spirit as the candle flares up. See into my eyes. See the inner sight.
I see it, child. There's potential there, but very good. And the tools. I see that the Tarokka seeks to speak through you. Have you those keys upon you?
Amity takes out the deck and fans it out on her lap, the cards shaking as the ground trembles.
The spirit eyes it slowly, and then nods.
Then I give to you, my dear, my gift of sight. May you use it well.
And slowly she places her hand, still floating and ethereal, her hair drifting in every direction, tinged with a ghostly silver light. Reaches out and places her hand upon the surface of the deck. You watch as the cards begin to glow a faint, ethereal quicksilver, shimmered blue, and then slowly the woman's features begin to ripple, growing indistinct as the trails, the boundaries across her begin to blur, growing into mist and dissipating. And then slowly, you watch as those mists are drawn into the deck, as the light around it glows brighter and brighter. As the last of the mist vanishes into it, you hear a woman's voice, distant and indistinct. And then the whispering slowly begins to fade. As the darkness around you slowly begins to swirl, the spirits around you beginning to retreating, their whisperings contorting their faces, twisting with both disappointment and patience, with the thought that perhaps one day they too would be called. In their midst, you think you see the mist beginning to reform, but for now you watch as there's a faint glow, like a shimmering cerulean heartbeat about the deck. And then slowly you watch Erthrendir as the inky black void begins to drain from Amity's eyes, as the spirits begin to grow further away, not as if they are moving, but as if you are, growing both further and smaller and more insubstantial with each passing moment. And then you blink, and the gray light of the Sarapool encampment spills out across you once more. The darkness vanishes. The candlelight extinguishes.
And Amity immediately begins running her hands over the deck, shuffling it, feeling it, and casting augury. And just continues to riffle the cards until it feels right to deal one. And she's casting augury to ask whether it would be good to send a message to the Raven man who had helped us defeat Ezek, asking him about the prophecy about the oldest feathery leader.
All right. And as you turn the card, you feel that pulse of energy And flipping it up to its rightful side, you see the shepherd, a symbol of wheel.
Amity smiles, and the candle's flame flickers back to the normal orange as she gathers the cards and wraps them back up in the cloth.
As you do, you think you hear a very in the distance sigh. A shudder goes down your spines, and from the deck of cards, you see, almost imperceptible to the eye, a faint blue mist dissipating, forming in its currents a familiar woman's face that then vanishes into the air.
I'm grateful. Now, fly free, Amity says as she departs. She turns to Earthrendir. Good news. They said it was a good idea.
Earthrendir's just staring at her. He's on his back, hands kind of propping himself up as he just looks between the Tarokka deck and her. What the fuck?
Are you okay?
There were so many of them I didn't know you were calling that. He's stammering. Good job. Congrats. I'm glad it works. That was incredibly powerful.
Thanks. I'm feeling pretty pumped. I guess I felt like I wasn't completely in the driver's seat there. I guess it's like you said, danger and focus.
I guess so. Yeah, good job. Or do you feel all right? Do you feel yourself?
Absolutely.
Earthrendir is going to roll insight. He wants to be sure it's still really Amity in there. Eight.
Seems like Amity, though she's less phased by what just happened than you are, for sure.
Oh, okay. Wow. I guess you should do your sentence spell then. I'll give you a bit of privacy. And he gets up a little too quickly. I'm gonna go check on Millicent.
You look kind of nervous. Is everything all right?
I'm just not used to seeing souls like that. It's a bit unnerving. Kind of. Ghosts kind of freak me out as a rule. That, it's people not where they're supposed to be.
Oh, right.
No, it's not your fault. I need some time. But
Amity nods and gives him some space. And she is going to go ahead with the sending spell once he departs.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's going to go find Lillison, probably.
All right, who is Amity sending to, and what is she sending?
Amity is sending to the, she wouldn't know he's a were-raven, but the one who helped us kill Ezek. And she is sending this message. Heyo, magic communication. You helped defeat Ezek. Thanks. Update. A fortune teller prophesized oldest feathery leader able to help us kill Strahd. Who's that? Tomorrow can we... And then it cuts off because that's 25 words.
Okay, sorry. What was the middle part of it?
I can repeat that if you want, because this was a little compressed with space.
Yes.
Okay. Heyo, magic communication. You helped defeat Ezek. Thanks. Update. Fortune teller prophesized, quote, oldest feathery leader, unquote, able to help us kill Strahd. Who's that? Tomorrow, can we...
Gotcha. Okay, there's a moment of pause. You feel for certain that your message was received, and then you hear in the familiar voice, "Cool. Magic communication. I guess I don't know what you're looking for, but maybe ask folks at the Blue Water Inn. They'll be able to tell." And I haven't counted the exact number of words, but at some point it cuts off.
You had 5 left.
Sorry. They'll be able to tell more. I guess and then it cuts off.
I should start counting these words ahead of time and telling people they have 25. I guess it's hard to do 25 words. Emily makes a note of that, and will then go join any other groups of people who look like they're having fun.
So, what are... okay, so Kiva's in the woods. Amity and Erthrindir just finished a seance. I guess the ones remaining are Erthrindir and Lillison. And Metreon.
Yeah. Metreon was heading towards the woods where Kiva went.
Gotcha. All right, so Metreon is heading toward Kiva. What's Lillison doing?
Lillison is standing pretty much exactly where Kiva left her, still just standing and looking at her hands.
Gotcha. Well, all right, so the seance takes about an hour, so I would say, Metreon, if you would like to follow Kiva, you have time aplenty to do so.
Okay. Yeah, as he's going in, he's careful stepping in and takes a moment before finding her, actually probably a few minutes, of just flexing his hands and his fingers and trying to refine and focus his ability of disguise. And he fluctuates between himself and the olive tone that he aspires to have. And at some point during this, I imagine he hears some howling coming from the woods that sounds a lot like Kiva, and so he will start to very carefully move in that direction. And when he does see her, he'll hang back and just watch her a bit, punching trees and shouting and just letting her vent.
Yeah, she sort of screams herself hoarse, I think. She's very... Yeah, definitely when he finds her, she's sort of just like collapsed at her knees, hands in her lap. There's some, splinters there, just like panting heavily and just like in the darkness of the forest.
Well, it's a stupid question to ask if you're all right, but are you all right?
You don't have to do this, the checking in. I imagine Erthrindir sent you.
No, he's busy chatting up with his old lady.
Well, I'm sure he'll find me soon enough.
I don't think they're worried about that right now. So what is this? And he gestures flimsily at the trees and at Kiva on the ground on her knees.
Punishment, I think.
For what?
Making mistakes. Upsetting people. Found I'm quite good at that.
Well, I mean, it's a bit dramatic, isn't it? voice. You sound pretty harsh and coarse, and I can tell you've been screaming. And judging by the in all these trees around, you all could say that you've been punching them too, kicking them maybe. Is it? I'm not super wise, but to forgive yourself for the things that you can't change about yourself, and it's not easy, right? I know it could be an annoying shit. I know that I don't take well to companionship, to friendship, to any kind of ship. Really, you put me on a galleon, and I'm terrified. But I guess what I'm trying to say is you don't get better punishing yourself.
I'm not trying to sound like, the pity party over here, but I don't know how else to deal with mistakes other than pain.
I mean, maybe that's a challenge, It's not going to be easy, but figure out other ways out, and you see that he looks down at his wineskin and looks almost a bit ashamed looking at it for a moment. And you just find different ways, I mean, none of them's perfect, right? We all got pain, and we all deal with it in different ways. You could tell that he's sort of trying to fight the own admission of his the kind of hypocrisy in his words.
Kiva looks at you and just. Do you remember in Death House? That horrible place. I tried to talk to you after your wineskin ran out.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it's all kind of a blur to me. Kind of try to block a lot of it out, repress it.
Garrick, the man that I used to, he liked to drink, too, so. His way of teaching lessons was, not as kind as his own way of dealing with pain.
Yeah,
I've never quite been good at being delicate in my conversation or in my carriage. I just broke things. When I was younger, my dad used to say I didn't know my own strength. I messed things up for people. I told you that the first night we were at the fire. I upset Lillison. I'm sure I upset Amity and Earthendear. I just break things. So the only thing I know to do is to break myself after. I keep thinking I'm close to finding a purpose, maybe good kindness, and then I do something like this. Say something stupid without even meaning to. I thought it was a good idea. It makes sense. Keep the boy someplace that no one else can get to him. And then I should have known. She told me. She was locked in a tower like that.
Oh.
She told me a story that she insisted at the time was not true. About what she was made to do and be in that tower. I suggested the same thing for Victor. I should have known better.
if it's any kind of consolation, you haven't broke these people. At least, not you haven't broken Arena. You haven't broken Amity or Randy. You haven't broken me. And I doubt you broke Lilith, and she seems like a strong bird. I think you think you're breaking things when you just maybe you're coming into maybe a rough patch, a little bit of conflict, but it's natural. Everyone's going to have a little bit of grit, a little bit of friction. Sometimes that friction's really fun. Sometimes it's not. But you get over it.
I just want to make sure that Look, I know what I want to do to Strahd. I know, I want to make sure that I'm worthy of the sacrifice that you all are making, too. Because I'm not doing this alone. And sometimes I feel like I'm just not worthy of the trust that you have in me, of friendship. I want to do right by all of you. I do. I just have no idea how.
But then you learn, and you got a couple 100 years to do it.
That's true. Nothing but time.
Well, unless he kills us all.
Your positivity is astounding.
But I gotta keep it real. Gotta keep it 100.
She'll stand up after a while and sort of dust the self-pity off. Pick the splinters out of her hands.
Hey, come here. Follow me.
Okay. She will follow you.
And yeah, I'd say, given how deep Kiva probably went into the woods, we get back after Randy and Amity have finished, and as Metreon steps out of the woods, he looks over at the pair of them. Oh, we missed anything?
Earthrendeer looks like he's seen a ghost, but in the bad way. But he kind of starts a bit when he sees Kiva. Oh, shit. Amity, do you want to tell him?
All right. So, I sent a sending to that raven person with a sword.
And?
He told us that, well, he didn't know who the prophecy was talking about, but that we should talk to people at the Blue Water Inn, because maybe they'll know.
Well, that's perfect. I think we were planning on doing that anyway, so it's good to know that they'll know something at least. It's one step closer to figuring out who else can help us, right?
Amity nods.
Where's capital then? Kiva, follow me. And Metreon's gonna just kind of smile at the both of them and is gonna head towards Esmeralda.
Esmeralda is kind of off to the side of the encampment. She's kind of glancing toward Amity and Earthrendeer with no small amount of interest, but just kind of, relaxing and, watching the river go by. She gives you a nod as you approach.
Amity calls after them. Also, maybe what Earthrendeer wanted me to relay is that I managed to talk to a ghost.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Kiva would stop and slowly turn around.
I did this I don't exactly know how to describe it. Seance thing, and called one of these. I think it was or she said she was a Vistani spirit.
And it was good. They wasn't trying to kill you or nothing. Or lying.
Amity shakes her head furiously. No, absolutely not.
Well, look at our girl growing up there. Communing with spirits and all that. Just stay safe. Randy, you watch after her. Keep a keen eye.
She can, of course, but she's perfectly capable of doing that herself.
I know, but sometimes, the spirits can get unruly, so it's good to have backup.
I'd prefer if one of y'all did that in the future, if you don't mind.
Well, this leads me to my point. Ace, can I see one of your swords?
I suppose so. Might I ask why?
Kiva here is going to teach me how to sword fight.
I am.
Well, I
She
mean,
is?
well, I'm pretty shit. At least I wasn't Kresk. I was pretty useless. I just got kind of froze up once I got attacked by that ghoul or whatever it was, and I feel like I can't rely on all this magic, hocus pocus shit. I should probably learn how to defend myself in other ways, just in case things get up close and personal again.
Kiva looks very quizzical for a moment. And then, and smiles very genuinely, like more genuine than I think Metreon has probably ever seen from her. Even in their sort of casual, not friendship. Yeah, she'll teach him how to sword fight.
Esmeralda kind of gives you an appraising look. Alright, is there anything in particular that you're looking for? Any particular weapon? I mean, there's the short swords, there's a rapier, there's a hand axe.
A rapier would
weapons.
look dashing with that beautiful complexion you've got.
I've also
I
got some
think so.
items in my wagon if you want to take a look, though I don't know if they entirely fit for Metreon's persuasion or favor of favored style.
No, I'll take the rapier if you don't mind.
Very, very cutthroat and dashing. If you had a cutlass, that would be even better.
Well, I cannot speak to Cutlass, but here you go. And she kind of takes the rapier, sliding it out of its sheath, and hands it toward him. Don't worry about damaging it. You'll probably break before it does. And as you watch a kind of glint of bluish light runs across the blade.
Ooh!
And then vanishes once more into the metal of the steel.
Metreon might actually kick Kiva's ass with that.
Fancy. Well, shall we?
Yeah, so she'll get into a position. We're obviously not going to roleplay this whole thing, but she'll get into a very formal position. She's going to say, I did not learn in any sort of formal way. Garrick was sort of street fighter bastard. So then she loosens up her positioning, her form. I learned sort of a barroom brawl sort of sword fight. So if that seems amenable to you, I feel like you might pick it up quite well.
Yeah, I mean, I love ballrooms.
There you go. And so she'll, oh man, Serena is tempted to have her just come at him and be like, that's how she learned, trial by fire. But she'll teach him some blocking and slashing first, and then they'll move into, I'm assuming, moderated fights with Esmeralda as the referee.
All right, Esmeralda is happy to take on that role, just kind of watching with some interest approvingly. Is there anything Amity, Aerthrendir, or Lillison would like to do during this time?
Yeah. Aerthrendir watches the training for a solid 20 minutes. He seems like he's soaking the whole thing in rather intently. But eventually he kind of starts, and then looking to where Lillison's been sitting, he tromps over to her.
Lillison has apparently been standing in one place for, what is it, an hour and a half now?
Yeah, hour and a half.
Yeah. She seems perfectly content to just be standing there.
Aerthrendir will join her, just looking out at the river. I take it you ain't in a talking mood.
I'm willing to speak if there is something to talk about.
He laughs. That's fair. I'm sorry she hurt you.
It's not me. It's... It is entirely possible that Victor is not worth all of this concern and consideration, but I want to see him have that chance.
Then it is you. And that's I'm the same way. I was going to thank you, actually. Not for not like for Pete stammering a bit. I'm bad at letting on when stuff bothers me, but like you were right to the point with why that was not a good idea. And I appreciate that. I'm learning to be that direct, and I guess I'm thankful that in the moment the kid had someone to look out for him who could say more than I could.
I mean, I would not have guessed that you are somebody who is not used to speaking his mind.
Yeah, in the sense that I'm loud and extroverted and often don't know when to shut up.
That is not what I said, but if that is what you took from it, well, that says something about you, does it not?
He kind of laughs a little bitterly. Point taken, but yeah, no, it's hard to do when it matters. Like, you know, kind of. I was telling Metreon about magic earlier, and what I kept coming back to was that it's all about control. You know, power's easy, control is absurdly hard, and I've kind of, I guess, taken that to heart a little too much. That, you know, it's fine if you're vibrant and but as long as it's not something that's ever going to hurt anybody.
She looks over to him with this bitter, amused little smile. Control is the hardest thing of all. Yes.
Damn right. Look, I don't have anything particularly profound to say. I've had one of the longer days in my long existence, but we're going to take care of Victor. And more to the point, no one's going to put you in a tower or put you somewhere you don't want to be for control or for safety or for anyone else ever again. They don't get that. They never get that.
Lillison stares at him, and the sort of like, I am okay with it now expression that she has been wearing starts faltering a little bit.
I'm serious.
Kiva said, and I know that she is correct. She said that this tower is different, that it could be a refuge as well, and that is accurate. I know that Victor's circumstances are actually unique and not just a metaphor. I need to remember that. Wars are not won entirely with symbolism.
He shakes his head. Maybe not. But metaphors and symbolism, if they mean that much to you, and they do to me, then it does count. maybe he's not you. Maybe he's not me, although I share a lot more with him than I'd like to admit to most folks. But that doesn't make you wrong, and that doesn't make her right. Maybe what he needs is a nice, sterile environment where he can calm down. But I don't think he does. I think what he needs, and he's just looking directly at her now, is people to help him figure shit out. That's why I took him to Casimir. I had an inkling that he knew more than he was saying, and that he was competent at minimum, that he's one of the folks who will care about people, even if they don't have, because they should. I trust that. And if the right move is to stick him in the tower where no hurt can ever be done, then fuck the right move. But the move that produces somebody who we could trust to be around us and watch our backs, and more to the point, who's a person that we can be with, is one who didn't get shut away, but one who had folks who were patient with him and told him off when he did stuff wrong, but was there for him when he did stuff right. And that's kind of all there is to it. Flowers don't grow without light, and he's not going to get better in an empty room with no skylights.
She stares down at her feet for a while and then says, What is the most painful thing that you see of yourself in him?
Right to the point, eh? He looks out at the water. There was a time when I was young, right after Offstra, you understand, when I was just so angry. Angry at the world for allowing this. Angry at Thay. Angry at myself for not being able to do anything. Angry for running, for letting people who were less fortunate there to die. And just angry at helplessness. Angry at even the most powerful people I knew could do nothing. Then what could I do but a shadow of nothing? And if I hadn't had my parents and my family and the community to fall back on, then I would have been Victor. No, let me rephrase that. I would have been worse. Victor grew up without knowing people. He doesn't get people. I do. I grew up with lots of folks. I can manipulate, I can lie, I can do all of that. And so I just know that if I hadn't had someone to help me talk to my anger and realize that its name was grief, then I wouldn't want to be Earthendeer anymore. I couldn't take it.
Lillison steps forward and reaches out a hand and hesitates just before actually touching Earthendeer's shoulder.
He leans into the touch almost reflexively.
Extremely awkwardly, she is going to step in and give him a hug.
He returns it in the one who's not really used to being touched.
Yeah, same.
Gang. I'm not saying that I would have turned out to be a murderer, But it's like you said, it's like control's not easy. And I know if I'd had a little less motive to be good, to be kind, to think about other people, then it's so easy to let go.
Do you find that control of your magic and control of your morals are so tightly bound together?
I wish I knew. I think so, but I thought so. I'm not sure that's true anymore. And it scares the shit out of me.
Which part?
He takes a long breath. That... I guess that you don't want to hear. And then he shakes himself. You fucking asked.
I did.
I guess I convinced myself that if I did things right, if I only learned the good kind of magic and only used it for good purposes and stayed true and never manipulated anybody's mind and never turned it against anyone who didn't deserve it and fought only in self-defense and and never called upon song or influence, or that if I kept to what I knew was true, that it'd be okay. But it's not. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, why would we do with our magic? Like, how we treat all that? It doesn't matter, does it? It's not like we're gonna find the way to make it not hurt people. You just have to know what you're using it for.
It matters exactly as much as anything else we do matters, which is only appropriate considering that it is part of us. Is it not?
Yeah, but it's not. Mine's not the same as yours. Yours is from. I made this choice. You never had that chance.
Earthringer can feel Lillison like kind of tense up a little bit, but after a moment, she relaxes again and, pats his back. I will... Gods, I hate this. I will tell you the truth, because all the parts of it have already been taken out of my mouth already. And I know that you are too clever not to put the pieces together anyway. Isides Winterstar, the strategist.
Your family.
My father.
So the man your brother idolized.
The man we
too.
both idolized. And I so wish that I had even a fraction of what he has insight, you understand? He is the one that this land truly needs, not me. And my brothers and I, we learned from him from a very young age until I was no longer allowed. And I have been trying to piece together a larger picture from the small pieces that I had, whatever I can remember, just as a sort of guiding direction as to what to do here.
Has it worked?
I suppose we won't know that until the next time that we're tested.
I suppose not. Although if you'll allow me to be sentimental again, then I think what's kept us alive might be Ascites' Winter Star. But it's also been Lillison Winter Star. If that's a name you wish to claim. If not, then I'll throw it into the water and will not speak of it again.
I'm not ashamed of it, exactly, but it is easier to... I mean... I represented myself to you as somebody who served in a great house, and that, of course, was not precisely true, although none of the individual words that I said at the time were lies, but it is easier to gain knowledge and insight when you have that flexibility.
I suppose so. Thank you for trusting me with that.
I mean, it's not as if I exactly had a choice after Madame Ava said what she did, but I do still trust you with this knowledge.
Yeah, no, I know I've had a dear friend who dealt with something similar. You hope you get to say it yourself before somebody else says it for you. But I guess I guess I don't have a lot more to say, to be honest. I'm just grateful to know you, whether you're a tactician or not, whether you if you're, if what we all keep circling around is true and that it's inevitable we're going to hurt each other, then, well, I think you've done and will do far more to make that hurt worth the pain of knowing you.
She blinks a couple of times, absentmindedly pats Earthrendeer's back again, and then finally steps away from the hug, and says, I would say that I want all of this to be over, but that isn't entirely true. I want to have achieved a victory here before we all hurt each other too badly.
Me too. I'm not ready to go back to what I was doing. Not ever again, I don't think. And if what this puts us through, then if we can kill this vampire, then we can make choices after that, I suppose.
We
but
can.
I'll say that if you're determined not to hurt me, then you'll find I'm a very stubborn bugger.
If you are you asking to be hurt?
I mean, not in the way I might ask someone. There's a tiny bit of a blush, and then he just not.
Should we tell Amity?
No! I mean, okay, putting that whole kettle of fish aside and shoving it in the corner where it belongs.
She is smirking so much.
Yes, I am asking to be hurt, because the alternative is not getting to know you, or Kiva, or Metreon, or Amity. You've all hurt me, quite a bit. It sucked, but it has been far outweighed by the pleasure that getting to know you has brought me, and the edification and the light and the change. So yeah, no, lay it the fuck on me.
Lillison gives Erthrindir a very skeptical and confused look. I will continue to endeavor to be close to people and not hurt them. That is my promise to you.
And I promise that... Well, actually, I don't know. What do you need from me? If anything at all.
I don't know. I would continue to have you as an ally, but I suspect we are far past that particular point of I don't exactly trust any of the others to do the right thing all the time. And I don't think that their hearts are in the wrong place, and I don't think that they are setting out to be bad people or anything like that, but Erthrindir, I think that of everybody here, you and Esmeralda are the only ones that I believe would take whatever pain the world throws at you and hold it and still continue moving in the right direction. And not lose sight of our goals here.
That is high goddamn praise. And I will do my best to continue to do so. Thank you.
She gives him a very crisp nod.
Well, I should probably get back to the others. I mentioned swimming at one point before this day turned into a clusterfuck. I'll test the mood, see if it's right.
I never learned how to swim.
Would you like to?
Not right now, I don't think.
Fair
After
enough.
seeing the last small body of water be lanced by a lightning bolt out of the middle of a clear sky.
Fair. Then I'll have it to myself. It'll be fun. See if I can't give Amity a little show. And then he just... Which y'all are welcome to look. But you know what? After the pain, we're not discussing this.
Yep. All right. So are the two of you heading back to the others then?
Yes.
Lillison will follow, somewhat more slowly, but yeah.
Okay, so Erthrindir leading the way, Lillison slightly dragging behind. You make your way back through the underbrush toward where the others have gathered along the banks of the river. As you do, the sound of metal clanging against metal reaches your ears as you see Kiva and Metreon locked in what seems to be a sparring match of some kind. Esmeralda and Amity standing nearby, Ismark and Irina not far away. You see the flash of metal against metal as the two go back and forth, not seeming violently, but you see almost a half smirk on Kiva's face, a look of concentration on Metreon's. And as this sparring match goes on, I will need Kiva and Metreon to each make 3 weapon attacks.
All right.
If you please. Contested. So first round, second round, third round. So please, both of you tell me what you get for the first.
All
All right, my first one's a 17.
Sorry, I'm trying to get it on my sheet. So that's going to be an 11 for the first one. The second one is...
So Kiva got a 17 for the first one, and
Yes.
Metreon 10. All right, so Kiva, you easily take the first round, though Metreon seems to be moving. You feel like yourself moving a bit more quickly than usual. You feel that the rapier almost is balanced perfectly in your hand, somewhat beyond it, but nonetheless, Kiva takes the first round.
Second round is a 23 for me.
Second round is a 19 for Metreon.
Okay, once more. This time, Metreon moving a bit quicker. His technique's moving more in line with what you taught him. You have to kind of like caution him at one point when he overstretches himself, and the next time he doesn't make the same mistake. But you're just a bit quicker, a bit more experienced, and Kiva takes the second round.
All right, this one's...
I have a feeling he's going to get me. He's going to get me in this last one.
This one's for you, Ez. This one's for you, Ismark. This one's for you, Irina. Let's go. That's a 23.
Oh my god! Yeah. So 14 on her last one.
All right, on that last one, Kiva, you reach forward with your own scimitar as Metreon parries with the rapier. He kind of twists off balance for a moment, and as he does, he kind of pushes, slicing aside with the rapier, and actually kind of wrapping a bit of it around the blade of the scimitar, just twisting enough to throw you off balance, and then swiping across the side of your chest enough to make you stumble. As you feel your foot go out from under you in the mud, you
Can I add something?
You may.
So as I do that, as I'm about to strike, Kiva would see for just a moment as my face turns into Irina's, and I blow her a kiss, and then I slam her into the chest with a rapier.
Oh my god. Yeah, she... Again, like for a blue-skinned elf, it's sort of... She just, I guess, blushes purple. I don't know, like a lavender. What that looks like. But she just looks very embarrassed and looks over at Irina and is like hoping that Irina didn't notice it. And like hoping that she didn't notice it, and just looks very embarrassed, but also incredibly proud. Like, just like very mom eyes proud at Metreon.
Unless Metreon would have desired it, I would presume that his back was to the audience when he pulled that move. Unless he wanted to show it.
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, it doesn't seem like anyone noticed, Kiva.
Okay, good. Yeah, so her embarrassment goes away, and it's just like searing pride. She sort of gets up and like mom tackle hugs, like after a soccer match when you just sort of like grab your kid. That sort of hug.
Told you I get it. Just took me a little bit.
Incredible. No, it's incredible. So good. It's like you're a natural. That's amazing.
And Metreon sort of swaggerly saunters over to Esmeralda and as lavishly and just over the toply bows and presents the rapier back to Esmeralda. Milady.
Esmeralda claps, raising an eyebrow. Very good. I am proud to have bestowed my rapier on such a provincial student, prodigal. And she takes it, offers a bow of her own. And Kiva, those were some excellent moves. Why, I think I picked up a thing or two watching. Very well played, you two. And she turns and offers a small wave as well to the returning Erthrindir and Lilison.
Holy shit, y'all. That was... Erthrindir was watching the end of the fight. That... Metreon, that was incredible.
Oh, no. And he brushes his nails against his lapels of his jacket and just kind of blows them off.
Yeah, no. God, I gotta try sparring with y'all sometime. I'm a little rusty, but y'all were... The two of you. God damn.
As the group of you kind of looks out over the aftermath of the sparring match, Kiva and Metreon still sweating and breathing a bit hard, you hear heavier footsteps coming from the direction of the camp through the grass and somewhat squelchy, muddy earth. And as you look, you see a taller, somewhat heavy-set Vistani man with long black hair that falls down around his shoulders in long curls, olive skin similar to Esmeralda, but kind of very deep green, slightly jovial eyes. You can see his hair is tied back with a reddish-orange bandana, and he wears kind of a simple white tunic below a bright red vest. He offers you a faint wave and a grin as he approaches. Good afternoon, friends, or perhaps I should say good evening. It is getting a bit late. couldn't help but notice that you were so out here beyond fire. So that me and my friends might invite you along. Enjoy the warmth of the campfire as the day becomes night. Evening is approaching, yes? We would be more than glad to welcome you.
Oh, yeah, please. That'd be lovely.
Yeah, we'd
Excellent.
appreciate it.
Well, we would love to have you by a fire. Forgive me, Madam Eva sees all, but I do not. I am purple.
So, what was your name? Parkour.
Purple.
Purple.
Parpol. P-A-R-P-O-L.
Oh, Parkour.
Keeve is just going to say purple because that, with her accent anyway, it sort of becomes purple anyway.
That is close enough. Please, come, my friends, and introduce yourselves along the way. It is always wonderful to have new company.
Yeah. Earthendeer will kind of look at Amity. You coming, darling?
Oh, absolutely. All right, bring us to the party, Pawpaw.
Of course. Come along. And he brings you along. You pass through a few of the red kind of conic tents with kind of tilted roofs to the top and small entrances jutting out, propped up by timber wood, making your way past them toward the edge of the wagons, brightly colored with barrel roofs, and toward the fire, where you can now see beneath the darkening grayish indigo sky several of the other Vistani, some of them young or old, though none approaching the age of Madame Eva, it seems. They greet you with waves and offer you places to sit along the fire if you so choose.
Dragna, is he hot?
I mean, he's the Parpol?
Yeah.
He definitely is pretty heavy, like lumberjack vibes, but no beard.
Okay, so like stocky trade. Okay.
Good dice told me he's a 79 out of 100, so
okay.
Like this, you can tell that this guy like enjoys sweets.
I'm into that. Okay, got it.
Very cool. All right. With that, you kind of settle into comfortable positions around the campfire as the late afternoon begins darkening into dusk. The gray light fading slightly as the light of the bonfire leaps and burns, throwing crackling embers up into the air. It's comforting, and there's occasional bits of song, and wine is passed around if anyone would like it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Very much so. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Please.
Lovely. And as you do, kind of partaking and enjoying the space and the warmth and the slight peace, you hear a woman approaching, and she has, a similar bandana to Parpol, but you can see a very long, like, reddish dress that is covered with spots of yellowish floral designs and imprints along it all the way on the bottom. Long earrings, like actually past your shoulders, just chains of silvery bronze carved in the shape of floral designs. And as she does, you see Parpol turn over. Yvonne, it's been a while since we've heard one of your tales. How about you recount something for our guests? The woman Yvonne turns toward the group of you. Well, it is always a pleasure to welcome newcomers to our fires. Might I count you as appreciators of stories?
Please.
But of course, and
of course.
Well, there's ones that I do know quite well, in fact, because I saw it myself with my own eyes. Gather in close, and I shall tell you a tale that took place, well, in the not-so-distant past, and I assure you, every word of this tale is true. She leans in close to the fire, her eyes glittering in the ember light. A mighty wizard came to this land over a year ago. I remember him like where it was yesterday. He stood exactly where you're standing. A very charismatic man he was. He thought he could rally the people of Barovia against the devil Strahd. He stirred them with thoughts of revolt and bore them to the castle en masse. When the vampire appeared, the wizard's peasant army fled in terror. A few stood their ground and were never seen again. But The wizard and the vampire cast spells at each other. The battle flew from the courtyards of Ravenloft to a precipice overlooking the falls. I saw the battle with my own eyes. She puts her hands out on either side of her. Thunder shook the mountainside, and great rocks tumbled down upon the wizard. She holds out a finger. Yet, by his magic, he survived. Lightning from the heavens struck the wizard, and again he stood his ground. And this time you see the flames dancing, like twisting demons in the whites of her eyes. When the devil Strahd fell upon him, the wizard's magic couldn't save him. She steps away from the flames. As she slowly shakes her head, the firelight dimming. I saw him thrown 1,000 feet to his death. I climbed down to the river to search for the wizard's body to see if, and she shrugs, looking a bit sheepish, he had anything of value. But the river Ivlis had already spirited him away. She smiles, takes another step back, and then offers a slight bow. And so ends another tale, lost in the mists of Barovia.
Earthendeer claps vigorously.
Amity claps somewhat, but sort of grits her teeth.
Lillison raises her eyebrows for a moment, claps a little bit, and then says, "Do you happen to know his name?"
She looks thoughtful for a moment. I do not, I'm afraid. I think it sounded important, though. I cannot remember the specifics. Oh, but a very important man he was, or thought he was at any rate. As for what he is now, well, I imagine the fishes will see to that.
Well, this story filled me with a terrible sense of dread. So, I think I might turn in early tonight. Thank you.
But of course, always glad to do what one can. That is what stories are for, yes? To let us feel the things that we cannot otherwise feel.
Oh no, I've been feeling pretty dreadful, but thank you. You're getting good. You great delivery.
She nods, kind of inclining her head, and then shrugs. Well, regardless, thank you for listening to my tale. But I do hope you enjoy your stay. Are you staying long with Saka?
We'll probably be leaving tomorrow. Unfortunately, it's been a lovely time.
Fairly fair, but... And she kind of steps back, and you watch as the shadows cross her face and then recede with the firelight. She gives a nod and a smile. Well, you will have to rest well and eat hearty before you are to go. So please, do enjoy hospitality. And do let me know if you'd like to hear other stories. It's always a pleasure to have guests.
If you do have any other stories that maybe aren't about being terrorized by the vampire who's terrorizing us.
But of course, perhaps we can discuss later over a proper hot meal, yes?
Oh yeah, I mean, you had me at meal.
But of course, well, relax, enjoy your stay, get comfortable, and well, we can talk more of tales later. And she bows again and steps away to some polite applause from her companions, and enters one of the wagons, leaving you back at the campfire alone.
Metron leans in. Was that supposed to be reassuring in some capacity?
I think not at all.
Okay, good. I'm not crazy then.
Either a warning or a threat, depending on how you phrase it.
Or maybe just exciting, but really not for this audience.
Yeah, we are kind of uniquely he kind of like counts heads, the large number of people in this land who would be particularly, sensitive to that one.
Perhaps taking our measure.
Or she just has fun messing with tourists. It's a grand tradition.
Yes, that as well.
Well, we could maybe just get Victor and have him, in place of that wizard, and just have the two of them go at it, and then soften them up a bit,
Please.
Sorry,
look,
it's hard not to make a laugh out of it. Sorry.
I appreciate you trying. Thank you.
What are you so sour for anyway?
It's been a long day. I don't know what we're doing. I'm scared, I'm homesick, and I think I just realized that I think it's my birthday.
Yeah. How do you figure that?
Well, it's a middle of, fall moving towards winter, right? Like there's just a feeling in the air. I think I've lost track of the calendar, but feels right.
Interesting. Well, maybe we should.
We need to celebrate this then. I mean,
Yeah,
we can bake something here, something sweet.
I'm sure you can. You're pretty skilled with that kind of thing.
I don't know if I have any presents.
Huh?
I'm sure you have the one that he wants, so you're all good there.
The pleasure of getting to know her and be her. Yes, that one.
The only pleasure that can ever be found from a relationship. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
Earthendeer is going very red.
In that case, what present would you like from the rest of us?
He kind of looks around. Honestly, as cheesy as this sounds, getting to know y'all's enough. Maybe lay off the dork jokes for a day. I don't know.
Fine.
They do weigh on
I
me.
will sweeten the pot. I will not insult you for another, at least until we rest the next time.
Isn't that in like an hour?
Well, no, I mean the next time. So from the time that we go to sleep tonight to the time that we go to sleep tomorrow, you will
yes.
be safe from my barbs and jabs.
Forced march tomorrow for 16 hours, I believe that sounds like.
16 hours.
You may force yourself to march. I am going to be stopping when it's obvious we're hitting fatigue.
We could take turns riding in the wagon. Actually, we can give Earthendeer more time in the wagon because
You have a leg braid. All right, just the no insult sounds nice, and also the cake. Maybe tomorrow. That would be lovely. I love you all. Thank you for being less shitty than the people I used to know. There's
Less
my
shitty is the best
sentimentality
you
for
can
the
have.
day. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I said just less shitty is the best that we can all hope for, isn't it?
I don't know. You're
How
pretty.
many candles?
140.
I have no idea what that translates to.
No,
You're
what do you
officially
translate?
older than me then.
Hey. Oh, God,
neither of you look a day past 100, so.
Why, thank you. That's very kind. In 500 years, I can start finally growing facial hair.
There you go.
Does it truly
Do I start
take...
growing facial hair in 500 years?
I hope so.
I don't know, will you?
I have no idea. How do elves work?
Earthendeer laughs. Wait, are you serious?
I mean, my father died when I was like 17, so...
Wait, 17 in my years or 17 in your years?
Like 17 in my years, yeah.
Oh.
That's what, like 45, 50?
No, I think she means 17
she means
actual
17
years.
Actual.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, it's
Yeah,
kind of like...
she was baby.
It's kind of like, cats and dogs,
Metreon.
What?
No, I don't take offense at it. I truly don't know much about elves,
Oh.
so all of it is sort of new.
Then no. Well, I mean, unless there are certain things about you haven't told us, which is entirely your right, then no, probably not. And if you ever want a crash course on the weird shit, I'm around. I know far more about elf lore than anyone really should.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I probably should learn some stuff. I just know that 135 does not normally look this nice, so
Well, good news. You're going to stay this way for another 500 years or so.
Woof.
Yeah. The good news is we stay. Good news is we get to keep the same look. The bad news is we get to keep the same look.
Is this the part where you say, and she looks over to Metreon as if for guidance, where we say that at least there'll be tens for centuries?
Yeah, and he does a really obvious wink towards Earthendir and looks back at Lillison. Yeah, they'll both be tens for, like 300 to 500 years.
You promise no insults,
I'm
sir.
not, I said you were a 10.
You said
Kiva
I was a
looks-
3
Kiva-
an hour ago.
Well, that was an hour ago. Now you're a 10.
Genuinely, like touched.
Now you're both 10s, and then, tomorrow night, you may drop down to 3. You may,
Be
hover
very
about a 4 or
careful.
5.
Be very careful with what you say, Metreon. I've logged your promise.
Oh, you're going to keep me honest, then?
I'm willing to slap you.
She can
Good-
summon
wait.
ghosts now too to like haunt you and stuff.
Yeah, find a ghost of my dignity, hanging out with you lot.
Nah, no, I think that's been dead too long.
And you see that he wants to say something, but he just purses his lips, Daenerys style, and smiles.
birthday.
All right, then. Well, shall we get to our various activities before bed? A party of 10s and one singular 1.5.
But wait, we should, it's your birthday. Don't you, I haven't had one personally, but I've seen them. You play games on your birthday, right?
There's a look of slight terror in Earthendir's eyes. I mean, sure. What do y'all have in mind?
First dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, dinner's a given, but we got to figure out the game. And Metron looks over at Amity. Got any ideas?
I imagine that Earthendir wouldn't want something where we all get extremely sloshed.
Tempting, but we probably do need to be cogent tomorrow.
Yeah, suit yourself. We could think about it. Maybe we should just get some food in our bellies first.
Yeah, works for me. I'd be down for another round of Never Have I Ever. That was a fun one.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. First, let's see what we can put together from rations and a good campfire.
Yeah, now we got Ez over there and Ismark and Irina. They can join in on the fun.
Oh, God. Oh, we're going to hear some things tonight.
And Metran looks over and smiles and winks at Esmeralda.
Esmeralda doesn't seem to be entirely sure what she's winking back about, but she winks back nonetheless.
Is this one of those games that requires an impartial referee?
No.
Please?
Unless you... No.
Kiva does lean into Metreon and go, you could probably get Ismark and Esmeralda if you keep going like that.
Well, I mean, probably, but what are you going on about?
I'm just saying, you feel like the type of person that's more of a Three's Company guy, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm not really the any company kind of guy, at least not more than maybe a night, 2 if, I'm really having fun. Or you're paying enough.
I'm not suggesting a marriage or anything. We've only got one dress.
We'll talk about it later.
All right, so as you assemble your meals, drinks, and other celebrations in honor of Earthendir's birthday and another day being alive, which is itself its own form of gift, the sky steadily darkens, the grayish blues of dusk fading into the inky black with the clouds of the overcast Peruvian sky overhead. The bonfire is still a bright, burning orange-red light leaping in the darkness. But as you will, you're able to assemble yourselves and enjoy what you can of the night remaining. Is there anything particular you would like to do before turning in for the night?
No, I mean, other than eat and play games, I would like to insight check Earthendir to see if it is actually his birthday.
Go for it.
4.
This man's hard to read. We don't know. Could be in July. Every time you've incited
going above a 10.
Terrible.
Love it. All right,
Yeah.
so, yep.
Lillison will
Yeah.
probably ask to see Esmeralda's map again, and then she's going to pull out one of her books and like just look at the map, scribble some notes, look at the map again, like do the thing where you hold your fingers apart like a certain distance, and like sort of hold it up against the map at various places, and in general doing stuff like that.
Yeah, Earthrendir has 2 small things to do, but one of them will wait till everyone's asleep.
Well, I bet.
Oh,
Ominous.
is there anything else other than innuendo that anyone would like to do before turning in for the night? No? All right.
I mean,
Then one by one, each of you, as you please, assembles your bedrolls, your sleeping arrangements, and is able to settle down for the evening. The 2 elves staying awake a bit, though Kiva, I imagine you would be entrancing at some point.
Yeah, as soon as she probably could. She doesn't like to be out for too long.
All right. With that, as you look at the others around you, the Vistani having withdrawn to their tents or their wagons as it be, and as Kiva trances, and you kind of look beside you, see Amity snoring softly. You hear the soft ripple of the water against the shores.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to do in the darkness of night?
Earthrendir looks at the others, kind of mostly to make sure Kiva's not looking at him. Then he just smiles down at Amity, kisses her sleeping forehead, and then heads out to the shore of the lake. He walks a bit along the shore and then disrobes quickly and quietly and swims out towards the center.
The water is icy cold, but I imagine that Earthrendir has had his share of uncomfortably chilled swims in the past, so if anything, it's somewhat welcoming.
Yeah. No, there's a smile on his face as he kind of rolls around, cheerily doing the backstroke as he heads towards the deepest part. And once he's kind of in the center with the silence and the mist all around him, he floats for a long moment, taking a deep breath. And then, in the quiet, he begins to hum. It's not a song any of you would recognize if you could even hear it. Something almost orchestral, something with soaring winds, and he closes his eyes. And as he does, he says almost to himself, "All right, new life, new beginnings, new chances." And he's going to cast Shape Water.
You feel the spell take hold as you form the necessary components. Is there a particular shape that you would like the water to assume?
He's going to he's going to see if he can muster the control to bend it into the shape of a mermaid and then freeze it in place.
You do so easily enough, bringing it up to the surface of the water and then twisting it, contorting. You see small twirls and flourishes that slowly, with a sculptor's eye, form themselves, the water constantly running and whirling in on itself, forming the rough shape of a humanoid, but where its torso ends, instead of legs, you see a long flowing tail formed of flowing water. For a moment, it's beautiful, and then you feel, just against the side of your arcane senses, the icy chill, a creeping cold, and darkness that you felt every time you've cast magic in this place as the water you've shaped turns a deep blood red. But for that moment, before that corruption took hold, you saw something beautiful.
He furrows his brow and kind of like almost addresses the air. Fine. You're going to twist things. You're going to convince me that this is wrong, that I'm bad for even trying. But that's you. I saw it. It was fine. This is fine. And you're not gonna stop me from trying. Go to hell, Barovia. And then he dives deep beneath the water and then swims back to shore.
Okay. And as you do, you're not sure, but you think you see as you release the spell, the reddish tinge fading back to a dark blue. Whatever corruption that magic can be wrought upon here, it seems it doesn't have to be permanent. As you feel the threads of magic unwind and the water returns to its place, flowing amidst the river. And you reach the shore.
He settles down to bed.
Okay. As you do, you hear a faint chirp from the tree branches nearby, a faint chittering. Looking up, you see a beady set of reddish eyes looking at you from the boughs of the canopy. Then a second, then a third. And a small, black, leathery furred, winged shape, just a trio of them, eyeing you from the distance.
Earthrendir just kind of eyes them, and then he raises his wand. You don't get this, motherfucker. Fly back and tell him that that he is no one's master. Not theirs, not yours, and not mine.
One squeaks again and just tilts its head, watching you with that cold red gaze.
Fine. If you insist. And, he is going to cast fear at these three. Actually, no. We just had the thing. Fuck it. Fear. Get him out of there.
Alright, which way are you casting it? Your usual way?
No. God, this is hard. Yeah, no, he like starts to blast them away with the usual instinctual wash of energy. And then he stops. He closes his eyes. And then he raises his wand, almost like a conductor's baton instead of a weapon. And then he casts the spell.
All right. And as you weave the wand through the air, not like a wand, not carving the runes that you're so familiar, you feel yourself giving into something more familiar, more comforting and yet stranger. A bubbling of energy, of magic that you felt that you've carried, that has been waiting to be heard. And as you raise the wand to the air like the baton, for the first time in a long time, you let it loose. And instead of the runes through the air, you hear the distant sound of strings, violin, viola, a deep baritone cello that rumbles through the night's air. And with a flourish of your wand, the music that comes from everywhere and nowhere twists like the screeching of nails upon chalkboards screaming through the air for a moment, a terrible scratch, and a swirl of twisted shadow of demonic energies and faces thrashes through the air toward the bats as you release the orchestral wave. The bats screech, two of them flying away instantly, the other one chirping in trepidation and swiftly following after its companions. And the music slowly fades.
Did this wake anybody up?
No, you kind of wandered a bit of ways from the rest of the camp, and it seems to have been localized for the moment, just quietly around you.
He looks down at his hands, and a genuine smile starts to grow across his face. Well, new things it is, then. Happy birthday to me. And yeah, he goes to bed. Curls up by his girlfriend, though not too close, because she does not like that.
Very fair. And with that, you return to your rest, letting yourself fall into the meditative trance as you prepare yourself for the day's journey and uncovering that is to come. And as you do, the night sky darkens over Barovia, the great clouds drifting overhead as the bonfire slowly burns down to its embers. And that is where we will leave it for today.
Action-packed.
Drama
We
packed.
got so far.
So much drama. And
Can't
so
believe
much
we made it all
backstory.
the way back to the abbot. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, next week is what? Castle Ravenloft, final battle, right?
No,
Pretty
that
much.
kicked ass. Don't denigrate it.
No, that was
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, no, it was great. Everyone was on point, and I love that we finally have more of Lilith's backstory.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, that was
amazing. Kaya,
radical.
MVP of the episode.
Oh,
yeah.
thank you.
Did we get enough role-playing XP to level up?
Yeah, I think we did.
I'm afraid not.
Level 8?
Sorry.
Level 8 now? Are we...
Level 8. Level 8.
You guys are like the goddamn seagulls in Finding Nemo. Just level.
Level.
Alas, no. But you can level in your hearts. You can.
But
you can
I'd
have
rather
a moral
level my
level.
character sheet.
But like on the
That's nice.
sheet too?
Yeah.
No.
Are you
Sorry.
sure?
I'm very sure. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well,
Not even a little bit of leveling as a treat.
I'll
Be
tell
like-
you what. You can like start writing it next to your current level and then delete it. But for that instant, you can, kind of hope in your heart that you'll be allowed to finish the numeral.
Oh, it's like a callback to the magic thing that you just did, where like it's a brief. Oh, see, that's intentional.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Everything I do is intentional and not pulled out of my ass. 100%.
There you go.
Love it.
You heard
All
it
right.
here first, kids. DMing is no improv at all. It is all planned in advance.
Everything is
Beautiful.
planned.
Oh, yes, 100%. All right, well, thank you to everyone for joining us today. Welcome to what promises to be, I hope, a fun continuation as Twice Bitten goes on. As always, we will see you back in the mists next week. Until then, take care when unwinding the riddles of the future. And, well, take care otherwise. We'll see you next week.